Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you're here tonight. Before we begin our long, peaceful journey into the ancient world of Norse mythology, I want you to gently settle in, relax your shoulders, soften your breath, and prepare to drift slowly into calmness. This will be a soothing, dreamlike story, told in a soft, comforting rhythm, meant to help your mind unwind and your body sink deeply into rest. And if you enjoy these peaceful bedtime journeys, I would be truly happy if you subscribed, because your support helps me create more calming stories just like this one. Thank you for being here and for allowing me to guide you tonight. Now, let's begin our quiet descent into the ancient North. Allow your breathing to fall into a gentle pattern, in and out slowly, without effort, like a long tide brushing a distant shore. Imagine the air around you growing softer, warmer, quieter. Let the day fade behind you like a distant memory. There is nothing you must do now, nowhere you must be, no weight to carry. Only the soft flow of the story, wrapping gently around you. And in this soft stillness, we travel backward far, far beyond the world you know, beyond centuries and civilizations, past forests and kingdoms and empires, past the first people, past the first animals, past even the first light, until there is nothing, nothing at all. Not darkness, not silence, not cold, not warmth, only a vast, endless emptiness. The ancient Norse called it Ginnungagap, the yawning void. Let your mind drift into that endless space, a space with no edges, no up or down, no time, no boundaries, just a quiet, infinite openness, as soft and weightless as a dream. Imagine floating there, held gently by nothing and everything at once. Feel the calm of it, the deep stillness, the way it embraces your thoughts and melts them away. And in this peaceful emptiness, two distant forces begin to stir. Not suddenly, not violently, but slowly, like two quiet stars waking from eternal sleep. To the north, there is Niflheim, the realm of cold at a place of deep, ancient frost, swirling mists, and icy rivers that flow slowly through the quiet. It is not frightening, only vast, still, and heavy with silence. Imagine the coolness of it, gentle and refreshing, like the cold breath of winter on your skin. To the south, there is Muspelheim, the realm of warmth at a glowing land of soft fire, not a destructive blaze, but a warm, shimmering radiance, like embers beneath a blanket of ash, glowing gently. Imagine that warmth brushing softly against you, comforting, safe, steady. Between them lies Ginnungagap, the quiet void in which everything will be born. And here, in this calm space between cold and warmth, something begins to change, ever so slowly, drop by drop, breath by breath. From Niflheim, icy rivers drift outward, their mists curling like silk. From Muspelheim, warm sparks drift upward, glowing softly. The two meet, gently, silently, like two waves touching after traveling for 1,000 years. Where they touch, something new begins to form. First comes frost, then warmth, then movement, and then, slowly, a shape that a great being takes form. Ymir, the first giant, the first living creature. But do not imagine a monster. Imagine instead a great, slow, peaceful presence. A being who drifts through the void like a sleeping mountain, breathing in long, deep rhythms. His breath is steady and low, like distant thunder softened by miles of sky. Each exhale warms the cold air around him. Each inhale cools the warm sparks that drift past. Ymir dreams, dreams that drift like quiet rivers, dreams that echo through the void. As Ymir sleeps, the frost around him melts, and from that melting comes life again. A great cow appears, a humla, gentle, enormous, calm. Her hide glows softly like moonlit snow. She provides milk for Ymir, and she feeds herself by licking the ancient salty ice that lies at the edge of the void. Each lick, slow and rhythmic, reveals something new beneath the ice. First a strand of hair, then a head, then the form of a man. This is Buri, the first of the gods. The void is no longer empty. Life is blooming in silence, in stillness, in the slow rhythm of breath and frost and warmth. Let your own breath follow that rhythm now. Slow, steady, calmed as Ymir rests, more life flows from him. Beings born from the quiet warmth of his sleeps, from the drifting frost melting around him. Giants take shape, moving slowly through the void like shadows cast by celestial fires. The gods, too, take form around Buri. His son bore, and eventually bores 3 children, Odin, Vili, and Vi. These brothers shine like soft stars, their presence warm and bright compared to the ancient giants. They move through Ginnungagap like gentle flames, curious, thoughtful, silent. You can imagine Odin standing in the quiet of the void, his breath steady, his eyes calm and clear. Even here, before the world is born, he carries a sense of purpose, a quiet determination softened by wisdom. His brothers remain close, their presence a warm glow in the darkness. And as the void fills with these new lives, gods, giants, frost spirits, warm sparks drifting through mist, the balance begins to shift. The worlds cannot remain unshaped. The emptiness must become something more, so the brothers move quietly through Ginnungagap, silently observing, drifting through mists of frost and glowing sparks, listening to the deep heartbeat of the forming universe. And then, with gentle certainty, they begin their work. They shape the first land from Ymir's great peaceful body, a world of mountains, seas, valleys, and sky, not in violence, not in anger, but in creation, a slow, thoughtful crafting of earth, stone, and horizon. They take his flesh to form the earth, his bones to form the mountains, his blood to form the seas, his hair to form the forests, and his skull to form the vaulted sky. But even this sky is soft, warm, and serene. A peaceful dome through which stars are placed like tiny lanterns. Imagine the world taking shape in silence, like a painting slowly appearing with each breath of creation. The oceans, smoothing out into long, shimmering surfaces, the forests swaying gently as if stirred by the first wind. The sky glowing with the soft light of distant sparks from Muspelheim and Sound. No rush, just the slow, harmonious unfolding of a world meant to cradle life. When the gods finish shaping the land, they walk across its quiet shores, their steps gentle, leaving no imprint. They look across the horizon and listen to the soft murmur of the world. It is almost ready, almost awake, but it is empty. So one day, as Odin, Vili, and Vi walk along the quiet coastline, they find 2 driftwood logs washed upon the shore. The waves lap gently around them, nudging them slightly in the sand, as if offering them to the gods. The brothers kneel beside the wood. Odin places his hand upon the first log. He breathes life into it. A slow, warm, gentle breath. The wood stirs. Vili gives it consciousness, the ability to think, to feel. That he gives it form and senses, sight, hearing, touch, and from these 2 simple logs, the first humans awaken, Ask and Embla. They open their eyes for the first time to a quiet, peaceful world with no fear, no rush, no weight, only soft winds, clear skies, and the gentle presence of the gods watching over them. Feel the softness of that moment, the calmness of 2 beings awakening into a world crafted with care. Let that calmness sink into your body, into your breath, into your thoughts. This is the beginning of the gods, the beginning of the worlds, the beginning of stories whispered across fires for centuries, stories of creation, giants, gods, humans, and the great tree that binds everything together. Tonight, our journey has only just begun. Let the quiet of this ancient world remain with you. Let it surround you like a warm blanket. Let it guide you deeper into rest. Take another slow breath in and out, letting the soft rhythm of your breathing settle like snow upon the surface of your thoughts. Let your body sink a little deeper into comfort, a little deeper into stillness, a little deeper into the gentle flow of this ancient northern dream. As you relax, imagine the new world taking shape beneath a sky of quiet silver light. The land stretches softly in every direction, mountains rising like sleeping giants, rivers flowing with gentle murmurs, forests swaying. With a calm, eternal breath, the world is peaceful, unclaimed, untouched, waiting, and in the heart of this newly formed cosmos, something vast begins to grow at a seed. Small, silent, ancient beyond imagining, sinks into the cradle of the universe. From it rises a sprout, fragile at first, trembling slightly in the quiet winds of creation, then stronger, taller, stretching upward and downward all at once. Soon, this sprout is no longer a sprout, but a trunk and branches and roots, filling the emptiness with a living presence unlike anything else. This is Yggdrasil, the great tree, the world tree, the spine of reality itself. Imagine its roots reaching down into the deepest dark places, curling around wells of ancient knowledge, twisting through realms not yet awakened. Imagine its branches stretching high above the sky, opening into distant worlds shimmering with light, touching places where even the gods walk with reverence. The great tree breathes with a gentle pulse, a rhythm older than time, slower than the tides, soothing as the heartbeat of the universe. Feel that rhythm in your chest now, steady, soft, grounding. As Yggdrasil grows, the worlds cluster around it like glowing lanterns suspended in the quiet void. Each world floats gently within the branches or roots of the tree, held carefully, never drifting too far, each bathed in its own light and life. There are 9 in total, 9 realms resting within the soft embrace of the world tree. High above, in the upper branches, lies Asgard, the realm of the gods, at a place of shimmering halls, golden clouds, and peaceful horizons. Its light is warm, steady, calm. The gods walk its quiet fields with a sense of purpose and harmony. Beneath Asgard lies Midgard, the world of humans. Its forests, mountains, and seas breathe with life. Its storms roll with gentle thunder. Its nights glow with starlight caught in the branches of Yggdrasil. Farther below, in the deep, misty roots, lies Niflheim, the ancient realm of frost. Its air is cool and serene, filled with drifting silver fog. The rivers flow slowly, quietly, carrying the memory of the world's first breath. Across from it lies Muspelheim, the realm of warmth and flame, but not destructive flame, a soft, glowing fire that moves like molten gold beneath the surface of the world. Above these realms, others spark into life. Alfheim, the home of the light elves, glowing like dawn over fresh snow. Vanaheim, the land of wise spirits and peaceful gods. Jotunheim, where giants wander through vast mountains and endless forests, their steps slow and thoughtful. And Svartalfheim, a deep, shadowed place where master craftsmen carve wonders beneath the earth. Each realm forms quietly, gently, one breath at a time, like 9 petals unfurling on a cosmic flower. The gods walk these realms slowly, learning their shapes, touching their rivers and mountains with hands that have only just begun to understand creation. They speak in low voices, admiring the harmony that drifts through each world, a harmony that seems to come from Yggdrasil itself. Odin spends long hours wandering beneath the branches of the great tree. He listens to the hum within the bark, a soft vibration that feels like a wisdom too deep to grasp. He rests his palm against the trunk and feels centuries unfolding in a slow, peaceful rhythm. Sometimes he closes his eyes and lets the sound wash over him. A low, warm tone, steady and endless, like the breath of the universe. I end this world. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is forced. Everything grows at its own pace, like a dream blossoming. Even the creatures born into these realms move with quiet grace. Majestic stags walk along the branches, their hooves barely making a sound. A great eagle perches atop the highest bough, spreading its wings like a guardian of the sky. Tiny spirits drift like floating sparks through Alfheim. Giants roam enormous valleys with slow, heavy footsteps. Every being moves at the pace of creation. Slow, balanced, serene, and through it all, Ask and Embla, the first humans, begin to explore Midgard. Their steps are soft upon the grass. They learn to drink from rivers, to feel the warmth of the sun, to sleep under the gentle glow of starlight woven through Yggdrasil's branches. Their hearts beat quietly in the newborn AI Ardati night. They lie beside one another, listening to the whisper of the wind. Sometimes they hear the great tree moving softly, its leaves brushing against the sky, its roots humming beneath the earth, and little by little, they learn the shape of their home. They touch the bark of great trees. They breathe the scent of pine and earth. They watch storms roll gently across the plains. They see the aurora shimmer like a ribbon of living light across the night sky, light from Muspelheim drifting across the world. The gods watch over them. Not constantly, not protectively, but with a quiet sense of wonder, the way one might watch a sunrise knowing it will unfold beautifully on its own. Odin often stands on a high cliff, watching Ask and Embla wander across the fields. His expression is thoughtful, almost meditative. He feels something stirring deep inside him. A desire not just to create, but to understand, to learn the deeper truths hidden in the roots of Yggdrasil, truths whispered by the earth, the water, the stars. But the great tree remains silent, for now. Still, the worlds continue to grow. The seasons begin to shift, soft rains fall. Snow drifts gently across the land. Winds carry the scent of pine, frost, and wildflowers. The sun rises slowly, offering warmth to the young world. Everything breathes together. Branches, roots, humans, giants, gods, all bound by the rhythm of Yggdrasil as the worlds settle into harmony. Odin feels the first pull of destiny, a soft tug, like a thread brushing against his thoughts. Not urgent, not alarming, just a quiet whisper that something deeper lies beneath what has been created. He walks the roots of Yggdrasil, touches the cold waters of the ancient wells, listens to the whisper of the runes that have not yet revealed themselves. He senses knowledge waiting, hidden in shadow, resting in silence, calling to him with the gentlest voice. He knows he will seek it one day. He knows a sacrifice will be asked of him. But for now, the world is calm. The tree is strong. The realms are balanced, and the quiet of creation wraps the universe like a soft blanket. Let that quiet settle into you now. Feel it sink into your breath, your muscles, your thoughts, relaxing everything it touches. Tonight, the cosmos is young. Everything is soft and peaceful. And you are drifting within it, weightless and calm, carried gently through this ancient northern dream. Let your breath grow soft again. Let your body become heavy against the place you rest. Let your eyes drift slowly, gently, toward the warm dimness behind your eyelids. And with each slow inhale, with each soft exhale, allow the world of Norse mythology to rise around you once more like a calm mist returning to a quiet valley as the great tree stands tall and ancient in the newly formed universe. Its roots stretch down into realms untouched by light or shadow. These roots are not thin or tangled. They are broad, powerful, and old beyond memory, carrying the life of the worlds through their veins, humming with secrets. Beneath them lie 3 sacred wells. Imagine moving slowly down along one of Yggdrasil's great roots, your hand brushing gently against the cool bark, feeling faint vibrations pass beneath your fingertips. The air grows still, quieter than breath, quieter than thought. The sound of the surface world fades until all that remains is the deep, steady hum of the tree itself. Like a heartbeat filling the cosmos. At the end of this descent lies the first well, Yggdrasil, the well of fate. The water here is clearer than crystal. It reflects not just your face, but the possibilities of everything. Every path, every turn, every moment still waiting to unfold. The surface never ripples, never stirs, unless touched by forces beyond time. Beside this well sit three women, ancient, ageless, younger than dawn, older than death. The Norns, they do not rush, they do not speak loudly, they do not move with urgency. Every gesture is calm, steady, unhurried, like the flow of time itself. The past, Verandi, the present, Skuld, the future. Their hands glide softly across the threads of existence, weaving, measuring, shaping. Their fingers move slowly, as if conducting a silent music only they can hear. They touch the water with glowing hands, sending faint ripples of silver drifting outward. These ripples move up the roots of Yggdrasil, into the branches, into the worlds, into the lives of gods, humans, giants, and spirits. Each ripple changes something, gently, subtly, like wind brushing tall grass from Asgard to Midgard to distant realms beyond sight. Everything bends quietly to the will of the Norns. Odin often travels to Yggdrasil. He approaches silently, never disturbing the calm that surrounds the well. He bows his head slightly, not out of fear or submission, but from deep respect. For the Norns understand things even he cannot see, invisible truths woven through time. He kneels beside the well of fate and gazes into its surface. Sometimes he sees nothing but his reflection. Sometimes he sees a faint shimmer of events not yet come to pass. Battles, storms, quiet moments of choice, small sparks of destiny flickering like fireflies beneath the water. He never lingers long. The Norns simply watch him with calm, unreadable eyes. When he leaves, he carries with him a feeling. Not knowledge, not prophecy, but a sense of direction, as if the world has whispered to him gently, nudging him forward. Another route of Yggdrasil leads to Mimisbrunner, the well of wisdom. This place is different. The air here feels heavy, filled with the weight of ancient memories. The waters are deep, dark, slow. When the wind moves across them, it carries the faintest echo of forgotten voices. Soft, distant, peaceful. Mimir watches over this well. He is calm, stern, thoughtful. His presence feels like a library of centuries packed into a single soul. There is no fear in him, only endless contemplation. Sometimes he sits for days without moving, listening to the low hum rising from the water. Odin visits Mimir too. He comes with questions, gentle questions, not demands. His voice is low, respectful, filled with quiet longing. He feels something stirring inside him, a hunger not for power but for understanding, a desire to know the hidden patterns that bind the realms. Mimir's answers are often slow, shaped like riddles, soft as drifting smoke. Odin listens patiently. He leaves with thoughts heavier than before, yet somehow clearer. And though he does not yet know the price of true wisdom, he feels its weight growing in his heart. A third route descends into Hvergelmir, the well of origin. Here the waters are cold, ancient, restless but not violent. They bubble softly, releasing the faint sound of creation itself. From these waters flow the rivers of the world, rivers that carve the land, feed forests, whisper through valleys, and eventually fall into the deep sea. This place is guarded by Nhggr, a great serpent who moves slowly beneath the surface, not in hostility, not in hunger, but in eternal patience. He gnaws upon the roots of Yggdrasil, a balance, not a threat, for all things must change. All things must decay and be renewed. Even the great tree knows this and accepts it. when Odin stands near this? Well, he hears not danger but rhythm, the soft, bubbling echoes of the first moments of existence, like breath becoming sound. And so, between these three wells, the worlds remain connected. The tree hums with life. Reality breathes. Time turns slowly as seasons form across Midgard. Ask and Embla begin to grow older. Their steps become more confident, their voices stronger. They build small shelters from the trees, shaping homes with hands that learn by touching, by listening, by feeling the world. Around them at night, they sit beside small fires, flames glowing softly against the dark. They speak quietly of things they do not yet understand. The lights in the sky, the movement of the wind, the gentle rolling of thunder. They wonder about the gods they have seen from afar, the beings who walk the realms with ancient purpose. The gods, in turn, watch the humans grow with fascination. Vili and Vi walk through the forests, observing the new life blooming in every corner. They speak softly about the resilience of humans, their curiosity, their adaptability. They see not weakness but potential, a spark that may one day burn brighter than expected. Odin watches most of all. He stands on mountain ridges, his cloak drifting behind him like smoke carried by a gentle breeze. His gaze falls upon Midgard with a sense of guardianship, but also contemplation. He feels a bond forming between himself and the humans, a bond deeper than creation, that he knows they will depend on him, that he knows he will guide them. And he knows he must understand more about fate, more about wisdom, more about the roots tying everything together. One night, as Odin wanders beneath the stars, he pauses beside a quiet river. The water reflects the sky like liquid silver. Leaves drift upon its surface, floating lazily like dreams. He kneels by the water, touching it with 2 fingers. The reflection trembles slightly, then stills. He whispers into the night, not words of power, not commands, just a simple longing. Let me understand. The river answers with silence, but a warm silence, a comforting silence, like a gentle hand resting upon his shoulder. And perhaps, in that moment, the runes, the secrets of existence. Hear him, not fully, not clearly, just the first whisper, like wind brushing the edge of a forest. The worlds settle again into quiet. Ask and Embla sleep beneath the stars. The Norns continue weaving in their soft, measured rhythm. Mimir meditates beside the dark waters. NHGGR curls slowly beneath Vergelmer. The tree hums with eternal calm, and Odin stands alone, wrapped in thought, wrapped in purpose, wrapped in the quiet pull of destiny. Let that stillness settle into you. Let the slow weave of fate calm your thoughts. Let the soft hum of the great tree vibrate gently in your chest. Let the ancient wells soothe you like deep breaths taken through centuries. Tonight, the world is balanced. The gods are learning, the humans are growing, and the universe is whispering softly through the branches. Let your breath settle again, soft, steady, smooth as the tide retreating slowly over a quiet northern shore. Allow your body to sink deeper into comfort. Let the world around you blur into stillness, until the only thing that remains is the gentle flow of this ancient northern dream. Above the roots of Yggdrasil, the branches stretch outward in long, peaceful arcs, lifting the newborn heavens like arms wrapped protectively around a sleeping child. In these branches, new realms awaken one by one, like lanterns being lit in slow sequence across a darkened hall. The first glow comes from Asgard, the realm of the gods that IT forms quietly. Not with thunder, not with fire, not with the roar of power, but with a soft golden shimmer that spreads like dawn breaking over calm water. Imagine a warm, diffused light rising slowly behind distant hills, touching each cloud with soft gold, illuminating everything gently. As if careful not to disturb the silence, Asgard is peaceful. Not yet the realm of great halls and battles, not yet the land of feasts and warriors, but a serene, almost dreamlike place, Fields of long grass sway in slow waves beneath a silver sky. Gentle streams cut through quiet meadows. Clouds drift lazily, as if carried by soft, unseen hands. There is a stillness there that soothes the mind. Odin, Vili, and Vi walk through Asgard like children exploring a new garden. They touch the leaves of trees whose branches hum softly with the same ancient rhythm as Yggdrasil. They listen to the wind whisper through the grasses. They dip their fingers into cool streams that reflect the sky perfectly. Everything is new. Everything is quiet. Everything is full of potential as they walk. Vili stops near a small rise in the land and he kneels, touches the soil, and closes his eyes. The earth beneath him feels alive, humming with possibility. Ready to grow into something greater, he looks toward the horizon where the golden mist meets the quiet sky. He imagines halls, shining bridges, and luminous towers, not of stone or wood, but of harmony and purpose. Odin stands slightly apart, breathing slowly, listening deeply that he feels the pulse beneath Asgard, the heartbeat of a world that will shape gods for centuries to come. And as these thoughts drift quietly between them, the land begins to shift. Not by command, not by force, but by gentle alignment with the will of the gods. Streams widen, hills rise slightly, long plains open. The air grows warmer, filled with a soft radiance. Asgard begins to take its first true form. But far beyond this peaceful glow, another light stirs, a soft rainbow shimmer forming in the space between realms. This is Bifrost, the shimmering bridge. Its colors flow not like paint, not like fire, but like woven light, a ribbon stretching across the void, connecting Asgard to the world below. Its glow is gentle, soothing, moving in soft waves, each shade blending seamlessly into the next, like a breath that never ends. When Odin first sees Bifrost, he approaches it slowly, standing at its edge. The surface of the bridge is warm beneath his feet, humming faintly. He looks down and sees Midgard far below. Forests, rivers, oceans gently turning beneath a soft sky. The bridge does not sway, it does not tremble, it simply exists, glowing with calm purpose. Odin understands then that this bridge is not just a path. It is a promise, a connection between gods and humans, dream and earth, sky and soil. That he places his hand on the shimmering surface, that it feels like touching sunlight trapped in crystal. He breathes deeply, letting the warmth sink into him. Meanwhile, across the branches of Yggdrasil, another realm lights softly into being. Alfheim, the home of the light elves. Imagine a land where the air itself glows faintly, like dust caught in golden sunbeams. Forests shimmer with leaves that reflect light like silver. Rivers sparkle as they run gently through quiet valleys. Everywhere, tiny motes of brightness drift like living embers. Not heat, just light, just presence. The elves move through their world with quiet steps, their feet barely touching the ground. Their voices sound like distant chimes carried by a warm breeze. They sing to the trees, to the rivers, to the sky. Not loudly, not forcefully, but softly, like lullabies meant to help the world grow. In the quiet of Alfheim, nothing rushes. Every plant grows with grace. Every breeze carries warmth. Every being glows as if sculpted from starlight. Farther still lies Vanaheim, home of the Vanir, spirits of nature, peace, and quiet wisdom. Their realm is gentle, shaped by rivers that flow in looping curves, fields that bloom endlessly, and forests where every tree seems to hum with life. Here, the Vanir live in harmony, their hearts tuned to the rhythm of the land. They tend to the seasons, guiding rain, sun, wind, and growth. Freyr walks through orchards heavy with fruit. Freya watches the petals of blooming flowers as they drift slowly across the air. Njord sits at the shore, listening to the quiet conversation between sea and sand. Nothing in Vanaheim is rushed. Everything flows like a smooth, unbroken breath. But not all realms glow with warmth. In the far reaches of Yggdrasil's branches lies Jotunheim. Land of the giants. It is vast, more vast than any other realm, with mountains that rise like ancient guardians and forests so wide that even the wind gets lost between the trees. Yet despite its size, Jotunheim is not harsh. It is calm in its own way, shaped by slow processes. Glaciers moving gently over stone, rivers carving valleys over centuries, the footsteps of giants echoing softly across long plains. The giants themselves move with patience. They do not hurry. They speak in voices like rolling thunder slowed to a gentle rumble. Their lives span ages, their thoughts shaped by the steady flow of time. Odin sometimes walks the edge of Jotunheim, watching them from a distance. He sees strength there, but also wisdom. A wisdom different from the gods, older, slower, deeper. He knows their fates will intertwine someday, gently at first, then fiercely, then inevitably. But for now, they exist in peaceful separation. Back in Asgard, the quiet grows deeper. The gods begin shaping their homes, not in haste, not in ambition, but in harmony with the land. Walls rise like gentle waves, halls stretch wide beneath skies painted in soft gold, gardens bloom with flowers whose petals glow faintly at dusk, and at the highest point of Asgard, something begins to form. Not by hand, not by decision, but by the natural alignment of fate. A hall of shimmering presence. A structure so calm, so steady, so full of quiet light that it seems less built than grown. This place will one day be Valhalla. But for now, it is simply a whisper of what will come. As the gods settle into their realm, Odin continues to walk alone at times, tracing the edges of Asgard, his steps soft against the quiet earth. He feels the pull of the wells, the hum of the tree, the glow of distant realms, the presence of new lives forming across creation. He knows something is missing, something he must find, something the worlds whisper to him without words: knowledge, understanding. The runes. He feels them in the wind sometimes, faint patterns drifting in the air. He feels them in the roots of Yggdrasil, vibrating softly. He sees hints of them in the way water ripples across the surface of the wells. But they do not yet reveal themselves. Not yet. Still, Odin waits, patiently, calmly, knowing the moment will come, and so the worlds continue to settle. The branches continue to hum. The wells continue to whisper. The gods continue to learn, and the universe rests beneath the soft glow of creation. Let that glow warm you now. Let the calm of Asgard settle into your breath. Let the shimmering light of Bifrost soothe your thoughts. Let the quiet of Alfheim ease your body. Let the rhythm of Yggdrasil cradle you gently. Tonight, all realms are at peace, and you are, drifting peacefully within them. Let your breath fall into a slow rhythm again. Let your chest rise softly and lower gently, like a leaf drifting on a calm autumn breeze. Every inhale brings warmth into your body. Every exhale releases the last weight of your day. Feel your mind loosen. Feel your shoulders melt. Feel your entire body begin sinking into a deeper, quieter rest as the world of Norse myth returns. The new cosmos, held gently in the branches and roots of Yggdrasil, has begun to breathe in its own rhythm. It is the earliest breath of creation, soft, steady, almost shy, and yet full of endless potential. The 9 realms glow like lanterns suspended in a night sky that stretches in all directions. The light of the realms is not harsh but warm, dreamlike, as though each world is wrapped in a soft blanket of golden mist. In Asgard, the gods continue shaping their home, not with haste, not with noise, but with movements that reflect the calm heartbeat of the great tree. Walls rise slowly, following the natural curve of the land. Riverbanks smooth themselves beneath divine feet. Gardens open like quiet smiles in the morning light. The air holds the faint scent of leaves and starlight, and the wind moves softly across fields of shimmering grass. Thor walks across these fields now, not yet the thunder-wielding god of future tales, but a young, steady presence learning the weight of his own strength. Each footstep presses gently into the earth, yet the ground welcomes it, reshaping itself beneath him. He pauses at times to rest his hand on a newly sprouted tree, feeling the life in its bark, listening to the faint hum of creation. Frigg moves quietly through the forming halls, her hands brushing the stones and wood as though comforting a child falling asleep. She speaks softly to the walls, not with words but with a presence that fills the air with peace. Wherever she passes, the land feels settled, complete, safe. Heimdall stands near the edge of Asgard, listening to the far-off sounds of realms still taking shape. His hearing is sharp not because of power, but because he listens with patience. Every shift in the wind, every crackle of distant flame, every ripple of water tells him a story of worlds finding their rhythm. But Odin walks differently. He wanders not out of curiosity alone, but out of longing, a longing to understand. His steps take him across the plains of Asgard, down through the roots toward the wells, and out into the distant edges of the branches where the realms stretch into quiet horizons. At times he stands beside Bifrost, watching the rainbow shimmer slowly beneath his feet. At times he lifts his gaze to the pale sky, wondering what secrets lie beyond its soft glow, and sometimes he kneels in the grass, placing his palm against the ground as if listening for whispers beneath the soil. He senses something hidden, something ancient, something waiting to be found. The runes. At first they are barely a feeling in the air, a faint vibration that touches the edge of his awareness, like the subtle shift in the wind before dawn, like a quiet hum inside the trunk of Yggdrasil, like knowledge wrapped inside silence. He feels them in moments of stillness. He feels them when the world around him falls into perfect quiet. He feels them when the wells breathe softly in the depths of the roots. Yet they remain just out of reach, like a dream fading when one tries to recall it. One evening, as the sun dips behind the forming peaks of Asgard, Odin walks to the very edge of the world. The sky glows in soft gold and pale lavender, and the air cools with the gentle ease of approaching night. He sits at the edge of a cliff where the land falls away into shimmering cosmic mist. Below him, Midgard glows faintly, the forests deepening into shadow, rivers catching the last glimmer of daylight, mountains settling under the weight of dusk. He watches Ask and Embla preparing a small fire beneath a grove of trees, their movements slow, delicate, filled with the innocence of the first humans learning their world. Odin closes his eyes. He listens. First there is nothing but the wind sighing over the cliff. Then, a soft vibration beneath the earth. Then, a faint echo, distant, subtle, like a memory rising from the depths. He does not yet understand, but he knows it is important. Somewhere far below the surface, near the deepest roots of Yggdrasil, something else is taking shape. Creatures born from the bones of the earth. Small, quiet, shaped by stone and shadow. The dwarves. When the world first formed, tiny sparks of life scattered through the deep places, clinging to mineral veins, breathing the hum of the earth. These sparks grew slowly, taking shape out of the clay, the darkness, and the soft glow of underground crystals. They wake without fear. They wake without rush. They open their eyes to the dim glimmer of caverns lit by glowing fungi and the golden pulse of molten stone running deep beneath the earth. Their movements are small and careful, as if they respect the heavy silence of the underground. They touch the walls of their caverns gently, feeling the vibrations that run through the stone. They listen to the hum of Yggdrasil above them, the roots that feed all life. Their voices are low and soft, shaped by the echoing tunnels that in the health of these early days. The dwarves are like children of the deep, curious, thoughtful, forming their own rhythms far from the light of Asgard. They wander through the labyrinths beneath the earth, discovering pockets of shimmering silver, veins of gold, caverns filled with gemstones that glow like captured stars. They begin to craft. Not out of need, not out of desire, but out of instinct. Their hands shape metals into tools even before they understand what tools are. They carve runes into stone without yet knowing what runes mean. They polish gems simply because the light pleases them. Their world settles into calm, purposeful motion, and as they craft, something awakens inside the stone. Not magic yet, but possibility. In another part of the cosmos. Above the dwarves but beneath the sky, the night deepens over all realms. The stars awaken one by one, sprinkled like distant sparks across the heavens. Their light is soft, cool, steady. Ask and Embla stare upward, their breaths quiet, their eyes wide with wonder. They do not know what stars are. They simply know they are beautiful. Odin watches them from afar, feeling something warm in his chest, a kind of gentle pride, or perhaps hope. The humans learn quickly. They adapt easily. They find comfort in small rituals, gathering firewood, sharing simple meals, watching the sky stroke itself into darkness as the night deepens. The gods gather in a quiet clearing in Asgard, a first gathering, a peaceful one. The air is soft, carrying the scent of young pines and fresh water. Fireflies drift through the dusk. A warm glow rises from a small hearth in the center, its flickering light reflecting off the gods' calm faces. Frigg speaks softly of the weaving of seasons, how the warmth and cold must move in a cycle as gentle and natural as breathing. Jord describes the language of the sea. Its tides, its quiet moods, its peaceful stretches of calm water beneath a pale sky. Freyr wonders aloud about the forests of Midgard, how they will grow, how the creatures within them will wander, how life will unfold. In ways even the gods cannot predict, Freya speaks of beauty, not vanity, but the quiet beauty of existence itself. The beauty of growth, kindness, compassion, love, sorrow, connection. Beauty as the heartbeat of life. Thor listens mostly, his eyes reflecting the flames. His thoughts are simple but deep thoughts of strength, of protection, of how he might keep this new world safe. Heimdall remains silent, his senses stretched across the realms, listening for changes, shifts, ripples in the fabric of existence. But Odin listens inward. He feels the whisper again, the touch of the runes, not on his skin, not in his ears, but somewhere deeper, like a distant voice calling his name. When the gathering ends, he lingers beside the dying fire. The embers crackle softly, glowing gold and deep red like tiny suns resting on a bed of ash. He runs his fingers through the warm coals, feeling heat pulse gently against his skin. He whispers again, "Let me understand." The fire pops softly. A spark rises. The air shifts, but the answer does not come. Not yet. Instead, the night grows even more peaceful. The gods return to their halls. Ask and Embla fall asleep beneath a sky full of stars. The dwarves settle deep into their caverns, the sound of their gentle hammering echoing like a lullaby. The Norns weave slowly beside the well of fate. Yggdrasil breathes. Everything slows. Everything softens. Everything drifts into harmony. Let that harmony enter you now. Let it soften the last tension in your body. Let it quiet the corners of your mind. Let it carry you deeper into rest. Take one slow breath in through your nose and gently out through your mouth as your body becomes even heavier, sinking deeper into whatever holds you. Let your eyelids soften. Let your shoulders loosen. Let the quiet world of Norse myth open around you once more, like a warm blanket being unfolded in the dark. The realms have settled into a fragile but beautiful balance. Asgard glows softly in the early dawn light. Midgard wakes gently beneath a veil of morning mist. Vanaheim hums like a garden, touched by spring deep below. The dwarves shape their first tools with slow, rhythmic movements. Far above, the stars fade into a hazy pale sky. and at the center of everything, Yggdrasil stands silent and enormous. Its roots stretching into the dark, its branches glowing faintly as they cradle the newborn worlds. Odin walks beneath its vast trunk. He walks not quickly, not with urgency, but with a slow, thoughtful pace, as if every step allows him to feel more of the tree's heartbeat. The ground beneath him is soft with moss, cool with starlight still lingering from the night. He closes his eyes and listens. There is a distant sound, soft, barely audible, like fabric being woven in another room. A gentle pull, a subtle vibration that travels through the roots. It is delicate, steady, patient. The Norns, they have begun their work, not with drama, not with ceremony, but with the quiet certainty of beings who belong to the deepest truths of existence. Ord, Verdandi, and Skuld sit near the well at the base of the tree. Not fully visible yet, not fully formed, but present, like three stars emerging through a veil of fog. Their hands move slowly, weaving threads that shimmer with an almost dreamlike light. Some threads are bright, some dim, some flicker like small flames, and some stretch far beyond sight. They do not speak. They simply weave. Odin feels the faint tug of fate forming, not controlling him, not deciding for him, but shaping the world's rhythm. He breathes quietly. The runes whisper again, he still cannot grasp them. Meanwhile, the other gods begin their mourning in gentle ways. Frigg visits the earliest human settlements, watching Ask and Embla work together. They have begun to build simple shelters, bending branches, weaving grasses, laying stones in soft circles. Their hands tremble slightly with the effort of learning something new, yet their faces glow with pride. Thor walks the land, testing the strength of the earth. He presses his hand against the side of a mountain, feeling the rock push back. He listens for cracks, for echoes, for any sound that might hint at instability. But the world is still young, still warm, still settling. It accepts him easily. Freyr wanders across the plains of Midgard, touching new plants with curiosity. Each time his fingers brush a leaf, the plant brightens, subtly, almost imperceptibly, but enough to show life responding to care. Freya sits beside a small river, letting the water slip through her hands. She watches sunlight play on the surface, scattering gold patterns across the stones below. She hums a soft melody, not a spell, not a command, just something gentle and sweet that fills the air with peace. Njord closes his eyes to the distant sound of waves. Even though the seas are not fully formed, he can already sense them. The great waters of Midgard, the icy stretches near Jotunheim, the quiet, deep places yet untouched. Heimdall stands silently, listening to all of it. Every rustle of leaves, every beat of wings, every shift in the soil. His awareness expands without effort, not because he tries, but because listening is as natural to him as breathing. But deep below, in the soft glow of the earth's underbelly, another world awakens. The dwarves continue crafting. Their caverns have become warm and bright with firelight. Sparks float gently through the air, landing softly on stone surfaces before fading away. The sound of metal meeting metal echoes in a slow, soothing rhythm, like a distant lullaby reverberating through the tunnels. They build strange shapes, hammers, blades, pendants, rings, long before they understand purpose. They test the weight of each tool, holding them carefully, examining the symmetry. Their curiosity grows with every creation. One dwarf touches a piece of glowing metal and pulls back slightly, surprised by the heat. Another watches, tilting his head. They learn through the simplest gestures, through shared glances, through quiet trial and error. Life deep beneath the earth is unhurried, peaceful, ancient in its own way. And through it all, the runes pulse faintly. Hidden in the spaces between moments, waiting, Odin feels this that he begins to wander again, moving closer to the roots of Yggdrasil. The air cools as he descends. Light fades into a gentle twilight glow, neither dark nor bright. A soft mist curls around his feet as he steps into the realm of the wells. The sound of water reaches him, calm, steady, like a heartbeat in liquid form, that he kneels beside the well of Ord. Its surface is impossibly still, reflecting his face in perfect clarity. Yet beneath that surface, threads of light shift and move, forming patterns he cannot yet understand. That he reaches toward the water, that it trembles slightly, that a pulse, that a whisper, almost a voice. But he cannot hear the words. Instead, he feels something deeper, an urge, a call, a need, a sense that to understand the runes he must sacrifice something. But he does not yet know what. Far above, sunlight warms the realms. Birds take their first flights across the sky, wings beating softly, shadows gliding across the fields. Ask and Embla laugh for the first time, startled by the sound of their own joy. The gods share a quiet meal. The dwarves celebrate a newly forged tool with silent nods. Everything moves slowly. Everything breathes gently. Everything holds a fragile calm. And through that calm, the future begins to shape itself. The Norns continue weaving. Odin continues searching. The runes continue whispering. Yggdrasil continues growing. Let that sense of slow creation wrap around you now. Let it soften your thoughts. Let it loosen your mind. Let the quiet rhythm guide you deeper into rest. Take a slow breath in, hold it gently, and exhale softly, letting your body melt deeper into comfort as the world of Norse mythology opens once more around you. Calm, glowing, unhurried. The realms rest in a delicate balance, and dawn settles upon them like a soft blanket. The light is pale and golden, filtering gently through the branches of Yggdrasil, warming the moss-covered ground beneath. Every sound is muted, softened, as though the universe itself is breathing slowly. And here, in this soft and silent moment, Odin walks again. Not with the weight of a king, not with the sharpness of a warrior, but with the curiosity of a seeker, someone who listens carefully to the heartbeat of existence. The previous day's whispers of fate still linger in his mind. The faint tremble of the runes, the subtle tug of the Norns weaving, the quiet hum from the roots of Yggdrasil. All of it echoes within him like soft ripples sliding across still water. He walks to feel the world. He listens to understand it. High above, the branches of the world tree sway lightly, though no wind touches them. The leaves glow with a gentle pale green light, shimmering as though they remember ancient secrets. Each leaf seems to hold a silent memory of what has been and hints of what may come. Odin touches the trunk, feeling the texture of the bark beneath his hand. It is ancient beyond understanding, yet warm, alive, pulsing with the slow rhythm of creation. He closes his eye and breathes deeply, allowing the tree's presence to settle through him. A quiet moment stretches out, then another. Time does not rush here. It wades like a river moving lazily over smooth stones. Across the realms, the gods awaken to their own peaceful routines. Frigg stands beside a clear pond, watching soft ripples travel outward in expanding circles. She dips her hand into the cool water, letting it run between her fingers. She whispers something, not a spell, simply a reassurance to the world that she is there, watching over it. Thor sits on a boulder, feeling the ground beneath him. He presses his palm to the stone and listens. He senses the deep tremors of mountains still forming far away. He smiles softly, knowing strength is becoming part of the world just as he is becoming part of it. Freyr kneels beside a small patch of young plants. Their stems tremble lightly in the early breeze. He places his hand next to them, not touching, but close enough for warmth to pass between. The leaves brighten, their colors deepen. Life spreads outward in slow waves. Freya rises from the riverbank, her feet brushing through soft grass. She lifts a handful of morning dew and lets it fall like shining droplets back to the earth, watching each bead scatter sunlight across the ground. Njord walks by the forming shores of Midgard. The waterline shifts gently, waves stretching forward and retreating like the calm breathing of a sleeping giant. He listens to the rhythm of the ocean to be, learning its language before it even fully exists. Heimdall stands high above all of this on a rocky cliff, his posture completely still. His ears pick up every small sound. Ask brushing leaves aside, Embla stepping across a patch of damp soil, a dwarf hammer striking metal far beneath the ground. Everything reaches him, everything passes through him. Life is building quietly, layer by layer, and through it all, Odin feels that same pull, soft, mysterious, growing stronger. The runes are calling that he moves away from Yggdrasil's trunk and follows an invisible thread of awareness. The ground shifts subtly beneath his feet. Grass gives way to soft earth, then to stone pathways that glimmer with faint starlight. He walks into a hidden grove where the light seems thicker, heavier, almost like liquid gold suspended in air. At the center of the grove is a pool, smaller than the Well of Ward, but connected to it, fed by unseen streams. The water is perfectly still. Odin kneels beside Iti in the reflection. He sees not only his face but flickers of symbols, brief flashes, like sparks marking the surface before disappearing. He reaches toward them. The symbols scatter and he lowers his hand. They return. It is as though the runes tease him, offering glimpses but no clarity. They lean forward and pull away, like firelight dancing just beyond reach. The sound of quiet footsteps breaks his concentration. He turns. A dwarf emerges from the shadows, carrying a small hammer with glowing runes etched faintly into the handle. The dwarf says nothing, but his presence feels intentional, almost symbolic. That he holds up the hammer. Odin studies it, not with the eyes of a warrior, but with the mind of a seeker. The runes carved into the wood pulse faintly as the dwarf approaches. Odin traces one of them lightly with his fingertips. It glows brighter, then dims. The dwarf nods once, places the hammer gently on a nearby stone, and disappears back into the dim tunnels of the earth. The silence returns. Odin breathes slowly. The pool reflects the symbols once more. Above the grove, the branches of Yggdrasil extend wide, forming a natural ceiling of shimmering leaves. Light pours through in soft shafts, painting gentle patterns on the ground. Odin senses the presence of the Norns again, faint but growing stronger. Their weaving is steady, patient. Threads shift, connect, separate, and realign. He rises and follows the flow of energy toward the roots. The air cools as he descends. Moisture gathers on the stones. A soft mist thickens. The sound of dripping water echoes through the underground passageways. After a long moment, Odin emerges before the Well of Ward. The Norns are now more clearly visible. Ord, the eldest, with eyes that seem to hold the weight of all that has already happened. Verdandi, the present moment embodied, warm, flowing, steady-skulled, the least visible, her shape shifting like fog, her face always half in shadow. Their hands move over the loom, threads stretch in every direction, some shimmer brightly, some flicker like distant stars. Some are heavy and dark like deep water. They do not speak, but their presence is powerful, steadying, and strangely comforting, like the sensation of being watched over by something vast and timeless. Odin steps closer. The smallest shift in the threads catches his eye, a single thin line glowing softly. He reaches toward it. As his finger approaches, the thread brightens, pulsing in slow waves. The Norns do not stop weaving. The well ripples gently, though no wind touches it. The surface trembles with faint patterns forming and dissolving. Beneath the water, shapes swirl. Symbols, letters, something half-formed. Odin feels something stir inside him. A quiet understanding, Still fragile but growing, he kneels again. This time not to look into the water, but to listen to it. The ripples become soft vibrations, like a whisper too faint to hear but strong enough to feel. Something shifts, something aligns, something opens, just slightly, but before the moment can deepen, the rhythm of the realms shifts. A soft call echoes in the distance, a pull at a reminder. The day continues, life continues. The world is still forming. Odin rises slowly, taking one last look at the shimmering well. He breathes deeply, letting the cool air of the roots settle into his lungs, grounding him. Above, sunlight filters through the branches again. Ask and Embla gather food near a small grove. Thor shapes stones along the edges of distant hills. Freyr tends to new life sprouting across the plains. Freya watches birds take their first flights. Jord listens to the forming tides. Heimdall's gaze stretches across all of creation. Everything is calm. Everything is slow. Everything is preparing, and Odin continues walking towards something he cannot yet name, but feels deeply within him, like a word waiting to be spoken. As you breathe now, let yourself move deeper into this calm, deeper into the quiet, deeper into the soft rhythm of creation. Take a long, slow breath. Let it drift through you like a soft breeze moving across a quiet northern valley. And as you exhale, let your muscles loosen, let your chest soften, let your entire body fall deeper into the comfort beneath you. You are safe, you are calm, and the world of Norse mythology gently unfolds once more, like a dream returning in a familiar rhythm. Dawn touches the realms again, spreading a thin veil of gold across the branches of Yggdrasil. The great tree seems almost to glow from within, its leaves shimmering like distant stars fading into morning. The whole cosmos rests in a state of gentle awakening. After his visit to the Norns, Odin walks more quietly than before. Something inside him has shifted. The runes remain a mystery, but the sense of their presence feels closer, like a distant melody he is just beginning to recognize. He finds himself wandering toward a vast meadow in Asgard, where the grass moves softly in the breeze and the horizon stretches endlessly. The air here is warm but not heavy, filled with the scent of early blossoms beginning to bloom. It is peaceful in a way that encourages reflection. Odin stops and closes his eye, letting the stillness wash over him. He senses that the world is reaching a new phase in its creation. Subtle changes growing beneath the surface, slow transformations taking place across the realms. In Midgard, Ask and Embla begin shaping tools from simple materials. They experiment with stones, branches, fibers, learning how each responds. Their hands move awkwardly but with determination. They speak little, but their glances communicate a deepening understanding. Frigg watches them from a distance, her presence warm and protective. She sees their potential unfolding like a delicate thread being woven into something greater than itself. Thor stands on the edge of a hill, testing the strength of the skies. He lifts his hand, feeling the gentle stirrings of winds beginning to form. They respond to him instinctively. He smiles, sensing the early seeds of storms yet to be born. Freyr walks through wide stretches of forest, touching saplings and feeling their roots grow deeper into the earth. Under his guidance, new plant species begin to appear: tall grasses, small flowers, early fruit-bearing shrubs. Each life form feels like a soft promise for Midgard's future. Freya moves along a riverbank, her fingers trailing through the cool water. She watches fish glimmer below the surface, darting through the reeds. She hums a gentle melody, and the water reflects it in slow ripples that spread outward like circles of light. Jord stands where land meets sea. The coastline hums with potential. The first true tides begin to form, moving back and forth in slow, predictable rhythms. Jord closes his eyes, feeling the pulse of the ocean dash to dash beyond the deep places of the earth. The dwarves sharpen their skills. Their forges glow brighter. Their craftsmanship becomes more precise. They hammer metal slowly, deliberately, with a cadence that echoes like an ancient lullaby. They do not yet know who will one day wield their creations, but they sense importance in every swing. High above, Heimdall listens that he hears all of it. The soft scrape of a stone against another in Midgard, the faint hum of runes beneath the roots, the quiet splash of a fish breaking the surface of a river. Nothing escapes him, but his awareness is calm, never overwhelming. Rather, it flows through him with the smoothness of water running through open fingers. The realms are alive, and still awakening. Odin continues his walk through Asgard, eventually reaching a small ridge overlooking the forming sea below. The waters shift in gentle patterns, reflecting the sky like a mirror that has not yet chosen its final color. He sits, resting his weight slowly onto the cool stone. Here, he feels the pulse of Yggdrasil in the distance, like a heartbeat echoing through the ground. Something is calling him. He does not yet know its full meaning, but he senses it growing. A quiet certainty that he must understand the runes, no matter the cost. Knowledge is forming around him like mist, thickening, drawing near. But it is not time yet. The world still has lessons to offer as midday approaches. The light across the realms becomes softer, turning the landscape into a serene mosaic of gold and gentle shadows. Far below, the dwarves finish a particularly important piece. A smooth, perfectly balanced spearhead. They turn it in the firelight, admiring the reflection on its polished surface. Above them, in Midgard, Ask and Embla begin constructing the first shelter large enough for both of them to rest inside. Their movements are awkward but hopeful. They do not rush. They learn with each mistake. The sound of branches rubbing together becomes a soft, natural music. Freyr walks past the small structure, nodding with approval. He encourages the growth of nearby trees whose branches will one day provide stronger material. Freya gently sets a small stone charm near the entrance of the shelter. Not magic, just a symbol of protection born from her presence. Ask and Embla feel comfort without knowing why. Meanwhile, in Asgard, Odin rises from the ridge and begins his descent toward a grove filled with soft light and long grass. He senses that the day is guiding him toward understanding. Not of the runes themselves, but of what must come before he earns them. He takes a slow breath, letting the grove's stillness fill his lungs. That a soft figure emerges from the other side. That it is Vili, his brother, quiet, steady, thoughtful. Vili's presence is like a warm lantern in a dim room, comforting without pressure. He approaches Odin with a small smile. "You are restless." Odin nods. "The world has questions I cannot yet answer." Vili sits beside him. "Then perhaps you must listen more deeply." They speak little after that. They simply sit, two brothers sharing the same stretch of sunlit grass, feeling the energy of Yggdrasil humming softly beneath them. Later in the day, V joins them. His steps are light. His gaze is gentle. V speaks rarely, but when he does, his words feel like pebbles dropping into still water, sending ripples across the surface. "The world is not finished," he says quietly. "Nor are we." Odin breathes deeply, accepting their presence like a grounding force. The sun begins to lower, coating the realms in a soft amber glow. Shadows stretch across Asgard's plains. Birds glide lazily, returning to their resting places. A peaceful quiet settles over everything in Midgard. Ask and Embla finish their shelter. They sit together at its entrance, watching the sky darken. The first stars appear, faint pinpricks of silver light, slowly brightening as night deepens. Freyr watches from the tree line, Freya from the riverbank, Thor from a distant hill, Jord from the shore, Heimdall from his high vantage point. Each of them senses the shift from day to night, the gentle passing of time that brings no fear, only calm acceptance that in the sky, the first true constellations form. patterns traced by starlight and guided subtly by the Norns' weaving. Odin rises from the grove, feeling the weight of twilight settle around him. He walks toward a small hill where the view is clear and unobstructed. The stars above seem to watch him as he contemplates the day's quiet lessons, that he thinks of the runes, that he thinks of sacrifice, he thinks of the tree, he thinks of the threads of fate tightening in the background. He does not yet know the path he must take, but he feels it drawing nearer. Night gathers like a soft cloak around the cosmos. Yggdrasil glows faintly in the darkness. The well of Ward whispers at the edge of hearing. The Norns continue weaving. The dwarves' fires dim. Ask and Embla drift into their first night of shelter. The gods settle into their resting places, and Odin, he breathes slowly, letting the calm of the world settle into him, letting the stars reflect in his single eye, letting the silence deepen. As you breathe now, feel that same stillness wrap around you. Let it settle gently over your thoughts, your muscles, your heartbeat. Let yourself drift in the soft rhythm of creation. Take a long, slow breath in, let it drift comfortably through your chest, and let the exhale fall out of you like soft mist dissolving into cool evening air. Your body becomes heavier, your thoughts slower, your entire being more open to the quiet, dreamy world of Norse mythology gently unfolding again. Night has fully settled across the realms now, but this night feels different, deeper, calmer, almost sacred. The stars glow unusually bright, forming new patterns with every passing minute. They blink softly, shimmering like ancient memories rising to the surface of a still pond. Beneath them, Yggdrasil stands tall and silent, its branches stretching so far across the sky that they seem to cradle the constellations. Soft pulses of light move along its bark, like the tree is breathing, slow, steady, eternal. Odin walks this night with a slower pace, his steps barely disturbing the grass underfoot. Something in the air feels heavier, or perhaps more meaningful. The whispers of the Norns echo somewhere behind him, faint but persistent, that he pauses on a small rise overlooking the distant horizon. The sky flickers, not with lightning. Lightning does not yet belong to the world in its full form. This is something gentler, a soft shimmer of energy traveling through the sky like a silent wave. It glides across the stars and descends toward distant valleys where the world is learning how to dream. The runes call again. Not loud, not sharp, but clear, clearer than before. Odin lowers himself to sit on the cool ground, crossing his legs, placing his hands on his knees, opening himself to whatever message the cosmos might send. His breathing deepens. His thoughts quiet around him. The night becomes softer, stilled in a distant glade. Frigg lays a gentle hand over the first woven cloth Ask and Embla attempted to create earlier that day. The fibers are uneven, the pattern almost chaotic, but she smiles with pride. These are the first human-made threads in Midgard, created with intent rather than instinct. Ask and Embla sleep inside their small shelter, curled close together for warmth. Their breaths rise and fall in perfect rhythm. The fire outside burns low, giving off a faint golden glow. Freya sits nearby, watching over them with a calm, almost maternal expression. Thor rests atop a high ridge where the sky feels close enough to touch. He listens to the quiet hum of stone beneath him, reading the language of mountains. His heart is peaceful, but a deep instinct within him stirs, a sense that the world will one day need his strength. Freyr sleeps among the roots of a large tree, surrounded by plants he nurtured that morning. They seem to bend toward him as he rests, their leaves gently swaying in a breeze he does not feel. Jord sits by the forming shoreline, listening to the slow pull of the tide. The waves move in and out like a sleeping giant's breath. He feels the ocean's future within him. Storms, calm seas, distant voyages yet unimagined lie in the dark caverns far below. The dwarves continue working, quietly, patiently, never rushing. Their fires flicker against carved stone walls, casting long shadows that sway in time with their tools. Each strike of the hammer rings with purpose, echoing through tunnels like ancient bells. And standing on a high cliff, Heimdall watches all of this unfold. His golden eyes reflect the night perfectly. He listens to the heartbeat of the world, absorbing each quiet moment like threads weaving into his awareness. Night is alive, but peaceful, active, but gentle, vast, but comforting, and Odin. He continues listening. The air grows cooler around him, but not uncomfortably so. The breeze that sweeps over the hill carries faint whispers. Not voices, not language, but impressions. A sense of ancient truth waiting to be touched. He closes his eye again. The runes appear in his mind. Flickers of shape, lines intersecting, symbols half-formed. They float through his thoughts like sparks drifting from a slow-burning fire that he reaches mentally toward one that it brightens for a moment. Just a moment, then fades again. But this time something remains. A faint, warm sensation in his palm. He lifts his hand and sees nothing there. Yet he feels the echo of something powerful. He realizes what the runes demand. Not just desire, not just curiosity, but sacrifice, a willingness to lose something important to gain something greater. He is not ready. Not yet. But the knowledge sits in his chest like a seed waiting for its moment to sprout. A faint sound drifts through the air, soft footsteps. Odin turns. A wolf. Not snarling, not threatening, calm, glowing faintly under the starlight. But this is not Fenrir. He has not been born yet. This is an ancient creature of the early world. Guardian spirit, a watcher of shadows. It stands a short distance away, head tilted in gentle curiosity. Odin lowers his gaze slightly, acknowledging it. The wolf steps forward slowly, sniffing the ground, then looking up at the sky. Its presence feels connected to the runes somehow. Not an explanation, not a path, but a reminder that everything in the world is interwoven. The wolf finally turns and disappears into the tall grass. Odin breathes deeply, taking the moment into his memory. He stands and walks toward a grove illuminated by soft moonlight. The grass glows faintly near the roots of Yggdrasil. As he steps closer, he senses another presence. Vili and Vi again. They sit near a cluster of stones arranged in a natural circle, almost like the world itself shaped a place for reflection. They do not speak, but their serene expressions welcome Odin. He sits between them. 3 brothers, 3 forces of creation, 3 hearts touched by the same destiny. The night deepens, stars will slowly above. Constellations shift almost imperceptibly. The air grows cooler still. Vili eventually speaks. You seek something beyond the world. Odin nods. Vi adds softly. But the world still seeks you. Odin considers this, letting the words settle. We shaped this place, he says, but now it shapes us. Neither brother disagrees. They sit in silence again, listening to the grass rustling, the faint breath of the wind, the quiet heartbeat of Yggdrasil radiating through the earth, and something shifts. Not in the sky, not in the ground, but within Odin himself. A small part of him begins to understand. Not fully, not clearly, but enough to feel the direction he must walk. The runes will demand a sacrifice from him. But before sacrifice comes understanding. Before pain comes clarity. He rises again. Walking away from his brothers. He walks without aim. Simply following instinct, letting the night guide him. He moves through gentle fields, past sleeping trees, along a river that glows faintly with reflected starlight. Eventually, he reaches the edge of a cliff overlooking all of Midgard. The land below sleeps peacefully, forests breathe in rhythm. Rivers glimmer like silver threads. The first human shelter emits a soft orange glow. Everything looks connected, as if the very fabric of the world is weaving itself into place. And Odin whispers something quietly to the night. I will understand. The stars flicker in response, and a cool breeze sweeps across him, tasting faintly of starlight and prophecy. The Norns pause their weaving for the briefest moment. Ask and Embla turn in their sleep. Thor shifts on the ridge that Freyja's song softens. The dwarf's hammers slowed at Heimdall's eyes lift toward the sky. All of creation feels the shift, and as Odin stands there, wrapped in the silence of the night, something inside him settles, a deep, quiet promise that he will walk the path necessary to reach the runes no matter where it leads. Take a slow breath in, let your chest rise gently, and as you exhale, feel your entire body loosen and grow heavier, as if the quiet of the night in the Norse realms is settling softly over you. You are safe. You are calm, and the world of myth opens once more in front of your resting mind, soft, glowing, and deeply peaceful. Night slowly transitions into the earliest blue of dawn across the realms. The stars fade one by one, blinking out like tiny lanterns being gently lowered. The sky becomes a serene wash of pale colors, silver, blue, gold, merging softly like pigments dissolving in calm water. Yggdrasil stands at the center of creation, its trunk glowing faintly as morning light touches its vast bark. The leaves shimmer with dew, each droplet reflecting small fragments of the waking world. The tree hums with energy, the subtle vibration of a cosmos taking its next quiet step forward. Odin has not slept. He has spent the night walking, thinking, listening. Now, as daylight slowly grows, he feels the weight of a new understanding hovering at the edge of his awareness. Not fully formed, not clear, but present. Like a word resting on the tongue before it is spoken, he breathes in deeply, letting the cool morning air settle into him. He knows the runes are still far beyond his grasp. But he also knows he is closer than yesterday in the distance. Faint sounds mark the beginning of a new day. Ask and Embla stir in their shelter. Embla opens her eyes first, blinking at the warm rays slipping through the gaps in the woven branches. Ask stretches slowly, his joints stiff from new labor, but his face soft with contentment. They step outside together, touching the earth with bare feet still chilled by the night. Frigg watches them from afar, standing behind a veil of morning mist. She smiles as they examine the progress of their shelter, adjusting a branch here, tightening a fiber there. She doesn't interfere. She simply observes, guiding with her presence, not her hand. Thor awakens with the sun, rising from his resting place atop a high ridge. His silhouette stands firm and steady against the brightening sky. He stretches his arms, feeling the weight of potential storms somewhere deep in the world's forming winds. But today is quiet. Today is calm. He senses that peace is needed. Freyr is already awake, kneeling beside a patch of growing plants. He touches each leaf gently, watching color deepen in response. New buds form on distant trees. The early fruits become rounder, sweeter, shaped by his presence. Life expands across Midgard like soft ripples of green pushing outward. Freyja stands near a stream. She cups the water in her hands, letting it fall back slowly, watching the droplets scatter into the current. Birds take flight around her, their wings carrying the first quiet songs of morning into the sky. Njord stands where ocean mist drifts gently across the forming shoreline. The tide rolls in with a quiet hush, as though the sea itself is whispering secrets to him. He listens, learning the rhythm the waters will eventually follow. Ebb and flow, rise and retreat, the eternal breathing of the sea. Deep beneath the earth, the dwarves awaken to the glow of their forges. Fires crackle slowly, warming the stone halls. They take up their tools again, beginning with soft, careful strikes that echo through the caverns. Their craftsmanship sharpens with each passing day. They forge metal that gleams with the faint shimmer of magic. Even though the dwarves themselves do not yet understand the power growing beneath their hands, Heimdall awakens without movement. His eyes open, but he remains still, listening to everything at once. The splash of water in a distant stream, the whisper of Frigg's robes through grass, the hum of the dwarves' hammers, the soft breath of humanity awakening. His awareness expands with the rising sun. He feels every corner of the world, and Odin continues to walk. He moves toward a clearing framed by ancient stones, their surfaces etched with faint natural patterns. He pauses to rest his hand against one. The stone is cool, grounding. He can feel the pulse of the earth traveling up through his arm, a slow, steady rhythm that mirrors Yggdrasil's heartbeat. He sits in the grass, letting his thoughts drift. He thinks of the runes, symbols that appear in his dreams, in reflections, in the corner of his vision when he is at his most focused. He thinks of their meaning, their power, their connection to the fabric of existence. He knows the Norns hold the key. He knows the Well of Ward holds the reflection. He knows Yggdrasil holds the path. But he does not yet know the price that as the morning becomes brighter, a soft sound draws his attention. He looks up to see Freyr approaching through the tall grass. His footsteps are quiet, almost soundless. His face is calm, open, thoughtful. "You carry something heavy," Freyr says gently. Odin nods. The runes speak, but not clearly. Freyr sits beside him. The ground around him seems to soften, small flowers blooming where his hands touch. "Understanding takes root slowly," Freyr says. "Like the earth, like life." Odin considers this. "And sacrifice?" Freyr's expression softens. "All things that grow ask something in return." They sit together in silence, listening to the gentle flow of the wind. Eventually Freyr rises, nodding once before returning to his duties. Spreading life, shaping growth, helping the world breathe more deeply. Odin watches him go. Afternoon settles in with warm light stretching across the sky. Shadows drift slowly across the ground. Asgard becomes a picture of serene harmony. Gods walking calm paths, nature blooming in soft cycles, the world discovering itself in peaceful ways. Odin moves again, following a feeling rather than a direction. He travels through fields dotted with golden light, across a small bridge shaped by flowing water, up a slope covered in low flowers. As he reaches the top, he sees a sight both familiar and new. The Well of Ward. The Norns sit beside it. Their shapes are clearer than ever. Ward's eyes reflect the past like deep pools of memory. Verdandil's hands move with the rhythm of the present moment. Skuld's face glimmers faintly, half hidden in shifting shadow, half revealed. Their loom glows in the afternoon sun. Threads stretch outward, shimmering softly, each a life, a destiny, a choice. Odin approaches slowly. The Norns do not stop weaving. He does not speak. They do not greet him. Their silence is not rejection. It is an invitation that he kneels beside them, looking into the well. The water is perfectly still at first. Then, slowly, faint shapes appear. Runes, clearer than before. They drift through the surface like reflections of stars rippling in a calm lake. Odin touches the surface. A wave of energy pulses outward. Not harsh, not painful, but deep. It vibrates through his arm, into his chest, settling behind his ribs like a glowing ember. For the first time, he hears a faint whisper. One rune speaks, then fades, then another, then nothing. Odin opens his eye. He finally understands a small truth. The runes will not simply appear. They must be earned through sacrifice, through surrender, through stillness deeper than he has ever known. His breath steadies. He rises. The Norns say nothing, but their expressions shift slightly, an acknowledgement that he is now ready for the next step. The world continues its gentle rhythm as Odin walks away from the well. Evening arrives softly, painting the sky with cool blue and warm gold. Ask and Embla sit near their fire, eating the first food they gathered entirely by themselves. Their movements are still clumsy, but filled with quiet pride. Thor tests the strength of a hill, pushing gently against its slope to understand how the earth holds itself together. Freya sits with a fox curled at her feet. Stroking its fur in slow, rhythmic motions, Freyr plants a new grove of trees whose leaves shimmer with a faint golden hue. Njord walks through shallow waves as the tide retreats. The dwarves finish a long day's work, shaping their final tool with careful hands before. Resting, Heimdall listens and Odin. He stands beneath the first stars of evening. He looks up, feeling the night sky open like a vast door. He can feel the runes again. Faint but clear enough to guide him, he closes his eye and whispers into the night, "I am ready." The wind responds with a soft, warm breeze, at a sign, a beginning, at a promise. And as you take one more slow, relaxing breath, let that same quiet promise surround you, guiding you deeper into calm, deeper into rest, deeper into the soft world where myth becomes dream. Take a deep, slow breath in, let it expand softly in your chest, and as you exhale, feel your entire body sink deeper into the surface beneath you. The world around you grows dimmer, softer, quieter, and the dreamlike realm of Norse mythology opens once more, like a night wind lifting a curtain of starlight. Dawn has passed. Daylight has settled gently across the realms, and now, as the hours drift toward late afternoon, the world seems wrapped in a warm, golden glow, the kind of light that softens every edge, deepens every color, and invites every living thing to breathe a little slower. Odin walks across a quiet meadow in Asgard. The grass moves gently around his feet, whispering as it parts. The sky overhead is a pale blue washed with faint streaks of gold, as though painted with the softest brush. He carries within him the spark the Norns awakened earlier, a warm ember glowing behind his ribs. It is not yet knowledge, not yet mastery, but a beginning. The runes have spoken to him, even if faintly, and their call continues to echo through his steps. That he knows the path ahead will require something of him, something great. But for now, the world breathes gently, and he breathes with in Midgard. Ask and Embla walk along a small river. The water moves slowly, clear enough that they can see their distorted reflections wavering beneath the surface. They take their time learning the weight of stones, the behavior of currents, the texture of wet sand between their fingers. Ask cups water in his hands, letting it spill through the gaps in his fingers. Embla laughs softly at the way the droplets sparkle in the sunlight. Frigg watches from a distance, hidden among tall reeds. Her presence is warm, invisible, like a protective hand on the shoulder of the world. Thor rests at the foot of a mountain, tracing patterns in the dirt with the end of a stick. His thoughts are slow, peaceful. He feels power in the ground, in the air, in the bones of the land itself. But for now, he honors the stillness, letting the world shape itself gently. Freyr sits beneath a tree in the middle of a forest he brought to life. New leaves unfurl around him, glowing faintly with early growth. The branches sway in a breeze only he can feel. He closes his eyes, listening to the whisper of newly formed life, sensing how it subtly spreads across the land. Freya stands near the riverbank. She holds a delicate flower between her fingers, a flower that bloomed only moments ago because she sang to it. Its petals are soft as silk, glowing faintly in the afternoon light. Her voice is quiet, melodic, carrying through the trees like a distant lullaby. Njord walks ankle-deep in shallow waves, letting the water cool his skin. The tide recedes slowly, and he listens to its rhythm, each pull, each retreat, each settling pattern of foam. The ocean is learning itself, and he is learning it. Deep beneath the earth, the dwarves hammer metal with steady, patient movements. Their forges glow bright, and their tunnels echo with gentle metallic rhythms. They craft rings, blades, tools, not for war, not yet, but because creation itself calls to them. Each swing of the hammer is precise, purposeful, almost meditative. Heimdall stands on a high cliff at the edge of Asgard. He watches everything, not with strain, not with tension. His awareness is calm, natural. Every sound, every breath, every shift in the world arrives to him like a whisper through silk, and Odin feels the quiet unfolding of destiny in every corner of creation. He walks toward a grove where the trees arch overhead in a natural vault. Light filters through the leaves, quilting the ground with shifting gold and green. The air is warm and smells faintly of earth and new blossoms. He sits with his back against one of the trees. He closes his eye, and he listens. At first, he hears only the usual sounds: rustling leaves, distant birds, the faint hum of insects drifting lazily through the air. But soon, deeper tones emerge: the heartbeat of Yggdrasil, the whisper of fate, threads pulling gently, runes humming like distant stars vibrating in the dark. The world wants to speak to him. He lets his breathing deepen. The runes form in his mind again. Shapes of power, echoes of meaning. He tries to approach them with thought, but thought is too sharp. He tries to approach them with desire, but desire is too loud. Then he understands. He must approach them with stillness, so he becomes still. The grove grows quiet around him. A breeze passes through, carrying faint scents of pine, earth, and something older, something untouched by time. The air thickens slightly, as though the world is leaning closer, listening with him. Odin opens his eyes slowly. A soft shimmer dances before him. Not bright, not sharp, barely visible at all. A rune floats in front of him like a fragment of moonlight made solid, pulsing faintly, waiting. He reaches out a hand. The rune flickers, pauses, moves closer. It brushes the tips of his fingers, and warm energy travels up his arm, sinking into his chest. It feels like understanding without words, a small piece of a vast truth settling into him. But then the rune dims and vanishes. Odin breathes out slowly, acceptance filling him like calm water settling in a quiet pool. He is closer. He is not finished. He rises and continues walking, letting intuition guide him. He moves through tall grass, past clusters of young trees, across soft earth where flowers bloom in small circles. The realm responds to him, not obeying but acknowledging, recognizing him as part of its rhythm. He reaches a stream and kneels beside it. The water flows gently, whispering against small stones. He cups some in his hand and lets it fall back in slow droplets. Water becomes reflection, reflection becomes thought, thought becomes clarity. He sees in the moving surface faint glimmers of symbols, moments of runes, hints of knowledge that slip away the moment he tries to grasp them too tightly. The runes are not meant to be forced. They must be surrendered to. They must be given room to come forward. He stands and follows the stream. It leads him toward a small cliff overlooking Midgard. From this height, Odin sees everything: Ask and Embla gathering reeds, Frigg helping birds weave a nest simply by being present, Thor lifting a large stone and placing it elsewhere gently, testing the land, Freyr encouraging a sapling to rise faster, Freya humming to a new river flower, Jord shaping the pattern of waves, the dwarves forging something glowing and round beneath the mountains, Heimdall watching, perfectly still. And Odin feels the pulse of fate behind it all. He knows now that the world is ready for the next step. But he is not yet fully ready himself. The sacrifice required is still unknown, still distant, still forming like a cloud on the horizon. Evening approaches. The sun lowers, turning the sky into a warm tapestry of gold, rose, and deepening violet. A gentle hush spreads across the realms as the heat of the day releases into cool, refreshing twilight. Ask and Embla sit near their shelter, watching shadows lengthen. Frigg nestles near a quiet pond, touching the water's surface softly. Thor climbs a ridge to watch the sunset. Freyr walks through a field glowing with life. Freya collects a handful of river stones. Examining their smooth surfaces, Jord listens to the tide's quiet rhythm. Heimdall watches the horizon. The dwarves bank their fires. And Odin stands alone at the edge of the hill, letting twilight wash over him. He closes his eye, letting darkness approach like an old friend. The runes whisper again. Faint, tantalizing, powerful, he whispers back, "I will return, and when I do, I will be ready." A soft breeze answers him. Night settles across the realms, wrapping the world in gentle stillness. Stars appear in slow clusters, each one glowing with ancient promise. And as Odin steps back into the night, preparing for the path that awaits him, you too can take a slow breath, feel the calm deepen through your body, and let this quiet, soothing world carry you even further into relaxation. Take a long, deep breath, let it travel softly into your chest, and as you exhale, feel your entire body grow heavier, calmer, warmer. Every muscle loosens, every thought slows. The world around you fades into a gentle quiet, and once again, the dreamlike realm of Norse mythology returns. Slow, glowing, peaceful, like a soft lantern floating through a night of ancient stars. That it is early night again in the realms. The last traces of sunset linger as a thin band of gold along the horizon, slowly fading into deep blue. Small lights flicker across the sky, not fully stars yet, but the first glimmers of them, shimmering like distant sparks drifting upward. Yggdrasil stands beneath them all, its great branches glowing faintly in the twilight, its leaves rustling with a quiet that seems older than time. Every movement of the tree feels meaningful, almost conscious, as though it is preparing for something. Odin walks slowly along a narrow path shaped by soft moss and tiny flowers. His steps are quiet, barely disturbing the earth. His mind carries the weight of what he has learned, and the anticipation of what he has yet to face. He feels the runes whispering again, not as shapes, not as sounds, but as presence that he knows they are calling. Yet he also knows they will not reveal themselves until he is truly ready. He stops at the edge of a still pond, a place untouched by wind, where the surface glows like polished stone under the rising moon. He kneels and watches his reflection waver gently. In the faint ripples, he sees fragments of runes shimmer, then dissolve. He breathes deeply, letting the sight settle into him. Behind him, footsteps approach. He turns slowly. Frigg emerges from the shadows of the trees, her presence soft and warm, like the comfort of a blanket laid gently across tired shoulders. Her gaze carries deep understanding. "You are troubled," she says softly. Odin nods. "The runes remain far away." "Far away," she replies gently, "and yet closer than ever before." He waits for her to continue, but Frigg simply sits beside him, her hands resting in her lap. The pond reflects the moonlight across her face, making her look both ancient and impossibly serene. "The world is growing," she says finally. "Everything moves toward change, and I must move with it," Odin whispers. "You will," she answers, "but not by forcing the path, not by chasing the runes. They come only to those who have given something of themselves." Odin looks into the water again. "I know." Frigg touches the surface with her fingertips, drawing a slow circle. Ripples spread outward. "Fate is not fixed," she says, "but the moment you choose sacrifice, the world will shift." She rises quietly, her steps soft as falling petals. Odin watches her disappear into the trees. Feeling the truth of her words echo through him, he remains at the pond for a long while, letting the night deepen around him. Across the realms, a gentle stillness begins to unfold. Ask and Embla sit beside their small fire, watching sparks drift into the night air like tiny stars rising. They do not speak. The comfort of presence is enough. Embla rests her head on Ask's shoulder. Ask wraps an arm around her. Their breathing blends with the crackling of the fire. Frigg watches from afar, hidden and silent. Thor stands on a high cliff, surrounded by stone. Lightning whispers beneath his skin, not striking, not bursting, but humming faintly like a promise the world has not yet earned. He closes his eyes and lets the mountain's calm seep into him. Freyr lies in a field, surrounded by plants that glow faintly in the moonlight. New species sprout in the quiet of night, stretching toward the sky. He feels life expanding through the earth like warm currents. Freya walks along the river, her fingers brushing the surface in slow patterns. The water reflects shapes and memories, some hers, some belonging to the world. She hums a soft song to the river spirits beginning to awaken. Jord stands knee-deep in shallow waves, watching the moon's reflection ripple on the sea. Each tide flows smoother than the last. Each wave learns the rhythm of the one before it. Deep beneath the mountains, the dwarves shape their greatest work yet. A long, bright metal rod they do not yet understand. They work quietly, breathing in unison, sparks scattering like fireflies. Heimdall sits on his cliff, watching the realms settle into their night. His golden eyes soften, absorbing every detail, the shift of the wind, the sigh of the trees, the quiet pulse of Midgard. The world breathes, and Odin breathes with it. When he stands again, he feels something different. A clarity, faint but real. He walks toward a glade where moonlight gathers in soft pools. The air grows cooler. The grass glows faintly silver. The trees around him lean in slightly, as though listening. He sits beneath one of them, placing his back against the trunk slowly. He closes his eye. He does not force thought. He does not chase runes. He simply allows himself to exist. Still, aware, open, the night deepens. Wind whispers through branches somewhere in the distance. The faint hum of the well of Ward echoes inside Odin's mind. Shapes begin to form again, runes. Not bright, not clear, but more present than ever. He reaches toward one gently, without desire, without pressure. It brightens, then another, and another. He feels them gathering. Not to be taken, but to watch him. To judge him. To wait for the moment when he is ready to give what must be given. He opens his eye. The world around him is glowing softly, the edges of reality shimmering like dew on a spider's web at dawn. He hears footsteps. This time, it is Vili. His brother approaches quietly, sitting beside him without a word. The two remain still, breathing in the same night air. "You feel it," Vili finally says. "Yes," Odin replies. "It grows. I know. It will demand something from you. I am afraid I know that as well." Vili nods slowly. "But you will give it." Odin does not answer. He doesn't need to. Vili rises and leaves him to the night. Odin's mind drifts toward the runes, toward the Norns, toward the well, toward fate, toward sacrifice. And as the moon climbs high into the sky, the runes shimmer in the edges of his vision like distant stars whispering his name. He stands and walks again, letting instinct carry him. He moves across soft grass, through clusters of trees, along a winding path that leads toward the heart of the realms. He knows where he is going, even if he doesn't want to admit it. The base of Yggdrasil, the place where the roots meet the world, where the well of Ward holds reflections of all things, where fate becomes visible and sacrifice becomes real. When he arrives, the air cools around him, thick with ancient meaning. The Norns are there, Ord, with eyes reflecting ages long past, Verdandi, glowing with the present, Skuld, shadowed by the future. They do not greet him. They simply continue weaving. Odin stands before them. A breeze passes, the runes flicker near the surface of the well. He bends down, touches the water, and for the first time, sees clearly that the runes are calling him to a path with no return. A path that will pain him, transform him, and give him what the world will one day need. He inhales, exhales. The moment has not come, but it is near. He rises slowly, the Norns pause weaving, not to speak, but to acknowledge. He turns away from the well, walking into the night with a new heaviness, a new calm, and a growing acceptance. Because now he truly understands. To reach the runes, he must give part of himself to know fate. He must step beyond comfort to lead the world. He must break. Gently, willingly, completely. As he walks, night deepens, stars brighten, and the realms sink into peaceful stillness. Take a slow, deep breath. Let it fill your lungs gently, and as you exhale, let your whole body loosen, soften, and sink deeper into stillness. Feel your shoulders relaxing, your jaw unclenching, your mind drifting into that warm, quiet space where stories become dreams. The world of Norse mythology unfolds again, calm, glowing, serene. The night has stretched long across the realms, settling everything into a peaceful hush. Even Yggdrasil seems to breathe more slowly, its enormous branches swaying with a gentle rhythm that feels like a lullaby carried through the cosmic winds. Its leaves shimmer softly, catching starlight in a way that makes each one look like a tiny lantern, glowing faintly with ancient memory. The base of the great tree, the roots glow more intensely tonight. A faint hum vibrates through the ground. Not loud, not threatening, but steady, soothing, like the heartbeat of the world. Animals nesting in the branches curl deeper into sleep. Rivers flow a little more quietly. Even distant mountains seem to lean back, resting under the weight of the peaceful night. Odin walks slowly along a narrow path that winds through the quiet forest at the foot of Yggdrasil. His steps are soft, thoughtful, unhurried. He carries the weight of the vision he received at the Well of Ord, the realization that a sacrifice is approaching, that the runes will not reveal themselves freely. He does not fear the path, but he feels its gravity. The night air is cool against his face. Every breath settles him deeper into acceptance. He passes through a clearing where soft moonlight pools on the grass like silver water. Thin trails of mist wander between the trees, drifting lazily, brushing against his boots as he walks. They glow faintly, as if touched by the light of distant stars. Odin pauses, closing his eye for a moment. He listens. A soft humming drifts from far above, the quiet murmur of Yggdrasil itself. A sound too delicate for most beings to hear, but Odin feels it deep within his chest. He steps forward. Somewhere nearby, a raven lands on a branch. Odin feels its presence but does not turn. The bird watches quietly, understanding his stillness. It senses the weight of the moment, a heaviness not of fear, but of destiny slowly tightening around the edges of the world. Far away, in Asgard, Frigg stands on a balcony overlooking the shimmering clouds. She closes her eyes and senses a shift in the night, a trembling of threads in the tapestry of fate. She whispers to herself, "It is beginning." Her voice drifts into the wind, carried gently across the realms. Thor, meanwhile, sits on a rocky ledge overlooking the vast fjords. His hammer rests beside him, silent for once. Lightning sleeps inside it like a curled animal. Thor breathes steadily, calmly. He too feels something approaching. Freya walks slowly along a moonlit path, her steps soft, almost floating. She touches the petals of glowing night blooms that open only when the air grows still. Each one reflects tiny sparks of gold light. She smiles faintly. She, more than anyone, knows that great power always demands a price. Freyr sits by a quiet brook, running his fingers through the clear water. Feels cooler than usual. Something in the air makes the plants around him grow taller, reaching toward the moon. Jord stands beside the sea, listening to waves that move with slower rhythm tonight. They almost sound like whispers, calm whispers, but whispers nonetheless. And across the rainbow bridge, Heimdall opens his eyes, gazing into the deep night. His vision stretches far, his hearing spreads wide, and while he detects no danger, he senses a tremor in the pattern of reality. A shift, small but definite. He breathes in. The air tastes like fate. Back under the branches of Yggdrasil, Odin continues walking, letting his steps guide him without thought. The world feels different tonight. Not louder, not sharper, but clearer. It's as if every leaf, every gust of wind, every wisp of mist is aware of him, watching, waiting that he finds himself drawn toward a familiar grove of ancient trees, their trunks twisting upward like spirals carved by time. The ground beneath them is soft and warm, glowing faintly as if lit from below that he sits against one of the tree roots, closing his eye again, and the runes appear, not vividly, not fully formed, but shimmering gently, like reflections on still water. They drift around him, slow and weightless, glowing softly in the air. They do not speak, but their presence fills the grove with a sense of ancient clarity. Odin reaches toward one, and as his hand nears it, the rune brightens slightly. He hears a faint whisper, not in his ear, but in his mind, a whisper not of words, but of meaning. That he feels strength, knowledge, memory, and sacrifice. He lowers his hand, letting the rune drift away. He is not ready, not yet. The runes agree that he sits quietly, breathing with the rhythm of the world. Nearby, two small animals curl up together, under a bush, their fur rising and falling slowly as they sleep. Soft dew gathers on the grass. A light breeze brushes across Odin's face, warm then cool, like the world exhaling that he rests in this quiet for a long time. Eventually, footsteps approach. Steady, rhythmic, familiar that it is Vili again. His brother steps into the moonlit clearing, his expression calm but serious. He sits beside Odin, leaning against the same tree. "You saw them," Vili says gently. "Yes, they are close. Very." Vili nods. "And you are afraid." Odin does not deny it. "A little. It is good," Vili says. "Fear sharpens the spirit, but courage shapes it." Odin exhales slowly. "What if I fail?" "You won't." "How can you be sure?" "Because fate favors those who walk willingly toward suffering for the sake of others." The words settle heavily into the air, though not painfully. They feel like a truth Odin has always known but never named. Vili rests a hand on his shoulder, warm, steady. "You are not alone," he says softly. Odin lowers his head. "Sometimes it feels that way." "It feels that way," Vili replies, "because the path is yours, but the world walks with you." Odin breathes deeply, letting the comfort of those words seep into him. They sit without speaking. The grove fills with soft wind and quiet moonlight. The runes drift and shimmer at the edges of Odin's vision like stars reflected on calm water. After a while, Vili rises. "I must go," he says. "But remember, you are closer than ever." He disappears into the trees, leaving Odin with silence again. Odin remains still for a long time, letting the quiet shape his thoughts. Eventually, he stands, his body feels lighter. Not because the burden has lifted, but because he understands it now. He walks slowly through the forest, guided by instinct rather than intention. The night feels warm. The stars above glitter in soft clusters. The sky itself seems to lean closer as he moves. Memories unfold around him. Echoes of moments he has lived, choices he has made, battles fought, losses endured. But they appear gently, drifting like feathers rather than weighing upon him. He sees Ask and Embla, their fire growing dim as they sleep curled against one another. A soft glow surrounds them, a protection shaped by their innocence and the world's quiet care. He sees Frigg watching the clouds shift slowly across the sky, her expression thoughtful but calm. She touches the air with her fingertips, as though feeling the shape of destiny itself. He sees Thor meditating under a distant mountain. He sees Freya whispering to the river. He sees Freyr dreaming in the meadow. He sees Njord listening to the sea. He sees Heimdall watching the horizon. They do not know the exact nature of what approaches, but they feel it, each in their own way. Odin continues walking until he reaches a rise overlooking all 9 realms. The view is vast, gentle, endless. Lights flicker across distant worlds. The air carries the faint scent of pine, frost, and distant ocean. He stands silently, letting the world hold him. He understands something now. The runes are not merely symbols. They are the bones of reality, and they will not reveal themselves to one who wants power, only to one who seeks understanding, and who is willing to surrender something irreplaceable. A calm settles over him, deep, resonant, grounding. He closes his eye, breathes deeply, feels the world breathing with him. The runes glow softly, in the darkness behind his eyelid, drifting like stars across a velvet sky. He reaches toward them again. Not with desperation, not with desire, but with acceptance. They glow brighter, and for the first time, they answered. A faint whisper fills his mind. Gentle, ancient, unmistakably real. Not words, but direction. Odin opens his eyes slowly. The night has grown deeper, the stars brighter. The world quieter. He inhales calmly. The moment is coming, soon, very soon, but not yet. He turns and walks back toward the forest, moving slowly, peacefully, letting the night carry him like a soft tide. With each step, he feels his resolve strengthening. With each breath, the runes grow clearer. With each moment, his path becomes more certain. And as you breathe gently, letting the story drift softly through your mind, you can feel yourself sinking deeper into rest, deeper into quiet, deeper into a warm, peaceful calm. Take another slow, gentle breath and let your body soften again. Your shoulders lowering, your spine loosening, your eyelids growing just a little heavier. You are drifting deeper into the calm world of Norse mythology, where the night stretches endlessly and everything slows down into a quiet, dreamlike rhythm. The story continues where the last calm breath left you. Odin walks through the soft glow of Yggdrasil's lower roots, the quiet forest guiding him with its natural, soothing hum. Each step feels lighter, as though the earth itself is holding him gently, supporting him, keeping him steady. The night is peaceful, wrapped in a deep blue haze that softens every edge, every sound, every thought. Above, faint stars shimmer between branches that stretch high enough to brush the heavens. The air carries the scent of cool moss and distant water, fresh and comforting. It's the kind of night that feels eternal, a night where even time seems to fall asleep. Odin reaches a place where the roots twist upward like spirals carved by ancient hands. He sits again, resting against a thick root that feels warm beneath him, as if the great tree itself is breathing slowly with him. In the distance, soft ripples of golden energy shimmer in the air. Small pockets of magic drifting like fireflies, though they move more gently, more wisely, as if aware of their ancient purpose. Odin closes his eye, letting the world quiet around him. He reflects on the journey ahead, not with fear now, but with a calm acceptance. Everything he has lived, everything he has learned, has brought him to this moment. And though the sacrifice ahead still lingers like a shadow in the distance, he does not resist it anymore. He breathes deeply, and something inside him settles. Meanwhile, in Asgard, Frigg stands near a tranquil pool lined with silver stones. She kneels beside the water, touching its surface lightly. Ripples expand outward, glowing faintly under her fingertips. She closes her eyes, sensing a shift in the weave of destiny. She whispers a quiet blessing, not words of protection, but of peace, of strength, of stillness. The blessing travels through the air like a soft sigh, moving toward Odin without urgency, without force, simply drifting like a warm breeze. Far across the sky, in a quiet corner of Asgard, Baldur dreams. His dreams are bright and gentle, filled with light that never flickers. Flowers bloom as he walks past them, and the air hums with gentle warmth. His dream self glows faintly, radiating a calm that touches everything around him like soft sunlight. Hodor sits nearby in the shadows. He cannot see the dream, but he senses its warmth. He rests against a tree, feeling the heartbeat of the realm pulsing through the ground. He doesn't know why, but a heaviness presses gently against his chest, a weight not of sorrow, but of inevitability that he breathes slowly, calmly. His fingers rest on the cool grass, tracing absent patterns. He listens to the soft sounds of Asgard settling deeper into night. Thor lies on his back atop a quiet cliff, staring at the slow-moving stars. His hammer rests beside him, quiet and dim. He feels the pull of destiny too, but his thoughts are not heavy. Instead, he simply absorbs the stillness, allowing the peaceful air to quiet his heartbeat. Freya wanders along a soft meadow filled with glowing flowers that sway gently as if lulled by some distant song. She gathers a few blossoms, holding them close, breathing in their calming scent. A faint smile touches her lips. She senses change coming, but she welcomes the stillness of this night, knowing that peace is a rare gift. Freyr meditates in a field of tall grass that glimmers silver under the moon. The grass moves gently, brushing against his skin like whispered comfort. He breathes deeply, grounding himself, feeling the ebb and flow of life, the gentle warmth of the world pulsing beneath him. Njord sits near a sleeping sea. The waves move so slowly they seem to stretch further between each crest, as though the entire ocean is drifting into slumber. He lets the rhythm guide his breathing, calming every thought. Heimdall stands quiet on the rainbow bridge. His eyes soften, his posture steady. He hears everything: the drifting winds, the distant whispers of stars, the slow pulse of Yggdrasil. But nothing alarms him. Nothing stirs him. Tonight is a night of deep quiet, a night when even fate seems to walk with softer footsteps. And deep beneath the realms, Nidhogg pauses its gnawing at the tree root. The creature lifts its head, listening. Something in the air changes, a note of calm, a breath of destiny. It settles back down, curling its vast form, resting its heavy head on the cool earth. Even this creature, born of shadow, feels the hush of the world. Odin rises again. Slowly he walks toward a distant trail illuminated by faint, swirling lights. They drift around him like fragments of ancient memory. His steps make no sound, blending seamlessly with the rhythm of the night as he moves deeper into the forest. He sees visions forming in the air. Not frightening visions, but serene ones. The past unfolds in soft, faint images. Ancient tribes gathering around firelight, peaceful moments between the gods, small acts of kindness, forgotten joys. He sees Vili and Ve as they once were, standing beside him in youth, laughter echoing across open fields. He feels warmth in his chest. These are the moments the runes are showing him. Not the trials, not the battles, but the gentle memories that remind him why knowledge matters, why sacrifice has meaning. The visions fade, replaced by a soft, golden fog that curls around his feet. He pauses, closing his eye again, and once more, the runes appear. This time their glow is stronger, their shapes more defined, their presence more insistent. They drift toward him in slow, spiraling movements, surrounding him like a halo of ancient wisdom. Odin reaches out again, and the runes pulse with soft light that a message forms within him. A realization too deep for words, not knowledge yet, but direction, a gentle promise that the path is nearly ready. He inhales. Steady and slow, he hears something. Distant but clear. A single, slow note of music carried on the wind. It is not from Asgard, not from Midgard, not from any single realm. That it is the sound of fate itself, humming faintly, calling him forward. He opens his eye and turns toward the source. His path is clear, The sacrifice approaches, but he walks toward it now with peace instead of dread. He whispers softly, "I am ready." Not fully, not completely, but ready enough. The runes drift upward, scattering like soft sparks that fade gently into the night sky. Odin walks again, each step steadier, each breath calmer, each thought clearer. The wind carries his presence forward, brushing through the branches in a soft, soothing whisper, and as the night deepens, the entire world seems to breathe with him, slow, quiet, peaceful. You breathe with it too, drifting deeper, calmer, lighter, letting the story settle warmly around your mind, like a heavy, comforting blanket. Take another slow inhale, let it fill your chest gently, and then allow the exhale to melt out of you like warm mist fading into the night. Your body grows heavier against whatever holds you, your breath quieter, your thoughts softer, and as you sink into this quiet space, the world of Norse mythology blooms again around you. Calm, vast, peaceful. The night over Yggdrasil remains deep and luminous, the stars drifting in slow, dreamlike arcs. The air feels thicker in this hour, not with tension, but with a gentle fullness, as if all the realms are breathing together in perfect harmony. Odin continues walking beneath the tree's ancient roots, guided now not by uncertainty, but by a quiet confidence. Something inside him has shifted since the visions, something subtle but steady. The path is opening. The runes are nearing that he walks with soft, deliberate steps, letting the forest's hush guide him. The roots curve around him like ancient arches, forming natural passageways that glow faintly with starlight seeping through the canopy above. Their massive shapes feel eternal, unmoving, restful. Low humming vibrations radiate from the tree, soothing, steady, almost like a lullaby woven from the heartbeat of the world. Odin pauses to lay a hand against the bark, warm, alive, ancient. He feels something there, as though the great tree recognizes him, understands his purpose, and accepts the weight he carries. He continues far above him, on a high branch that stretches so far it seems to pierce the clouds. A small squirrel runs lightly along the tree. Ratatosker, curious and energetic by nature, pauses for a rare moment of calm. Instead of racing messages between realms, it sits on the branch and listens to the silence. Even mischief rests on this night, and deep beneath the roots, Nidhogg coils tighter, its breath slowing, its vast form settling into slumber. Shadows wrap around its massive body like soft blankets, quieting its gnawing hunger. The world is falling into a deep, natural rhythm. A rhythm that carries Odin with Yggdrasil in the heart of Asgard. Frigg feels it too. She stands near her quiet pool, watching ripples form without any touch. The water shimmers with reflections not of the present, but of possibilities. Paths branching, fates shifting, futures whispering. She closes her eyes and sends a silent wish into the pool. For peace, for strength, for clarity. Not for victory, not for power, but for balance. Baldur dreams again, his radiance glowing so gently it lights the room around him with a warm softness. His dreams are peaceful. Sunlit fields, blooming flowers, gentle breezes that carry laughter. His presence calms everything it touches. Hoder, in the quiet shadows, senses the warmth but cannot see it. He turns his face slightly toward Baldur, feeling the comfort through the air. His chest fills with a peaceful heaviness, a quiet acceptance of the bond they share. Thor still lies on his ridge, but now he is half asleep, the stars blurring softly above him. His hammer rests untouched. He doesn't feel the need to grip it tonight. The world is calm, safe. Freya hums a soft melody as she arranges the glowing flowers she picked earlier. The petals shimmer under her fingertips, releasing a faint golden dust that drifts into the air like floating embers. Her voice blends with the night, soothing the meadow to sleep. Freyr, in his field, lies back in the tall grass, allowing it to sway over him like waves. His eyes close slowly as he listens to the heartbeat of the earth. Steady, ancient, grounding, Jord stands near the dark sea, the waves moving so slowly they seem to stretch into long, peaceful sighs. He inhales the salt-touched wind and exhales calm into the horizon. The sea listens. Heimdall remains on the rainbow bridge, utterly still, his golden eyes reflecting the moonlight. Even he, ever vigilant, ever listening, softens on this night. His gaze watches Odin's path gently, without urgency. And in Midgard, Ask and Embla sleep more deeply than ever before. Their woven cloth lies beside them, the imperfect threads illuminated by the dying fire. Their breaths are soft and steady. Their dreams drift through images of forests, water, and strange lights they have no name for. Freya keeps her quiet vigil near them, her eyes soft, her expression peaceful. Humans are fragile, but she sees something special in them, potential wrapped in vulnerability. The night wraps everything in stillness, and Odin keeps walking. His steps eventually bring him to a river that curves gracefully beneath Yggdrasil's roots. The surface of the water glows faintly, not from reflected moonlight, but from the magic flowing through the earth. Tiny sparks float above it, drifting like gentle stars. Odin kneels at the river's edge. A reflection looks back at him. Not sharp, not defined, but soft and shifting. He sees himself not as a king, not as a god, not as the future seeker of runic wisdom, but simply as a being trying to understand the world he helped shape. The water ripples, distorting his form into gentle patterns. As he touches the surface, lightly circles expand outward, glowing softly, forming symbols that fade and reappear, the runes again, not fully formed, not complete, but closer than ever. Odin breathes deeply. He feels the path tightening, bringing him nearer to the choice he must make. He knows that sacrifice awaits him. He knows the price. But for the first time, he does not fear it. He watches the river drift slowly toward the horizon, the faint sound of moving water blending with the soft hum of Yggdrasil's roots above him. He closes his eye, and something shifts. A memory rises. Not a vision of the future, not a message from fate, but a memory of long ago, before the realms were shaped. A time when he and his brothers still wandered vast cosmic emptiness, searching for meaning. He remembers laughter echoing across astral planes. He remembers curiosity before responsibility. He remembers a lightness he has not felt since creation began. The memory warms him. He opens his eye again. Calmer than before, he stands, moving along the river, following its slow flow until it opens into a wide clearing. The clearing glows like a soft lantern in the darkness, illuminated by clusters of luminous stones scattered like fallen stars. He steps into the clearing. The air changes, quieter, deeper, almost sacred. He feels a presence. Not a person, not a creature, but the presence of destiny itself, waiting, watching, gently guiding. He walks to the center. The earth beneath his feet hums, a warm vibration rising from the roots below, and suddenly, Odin feels something he has not felt before. A pull, not of fear, but of completion, as though everything he has lived has led precisely to this moment. At a faint, almost imperceptible whisper drifts across the clearing. It contains no words and no language, just meaning. He inhales deeply. The night holds its breath with him. He exhales slowly. The sensation settles into his bones. He whispers quietly, "I am ready to know." The clearing answers with gentle light. It washes over him, warm and soft, like the touch of a long-forgotten sun. The light swirls around him, not blinding, not overwhelming, simply comforting. It wraps him in a calm so deep it nearly brings him to his knees. He stands still, letting the warmth seep into him, allowing the message, quiet, ancient, patient, To settle, he will follow this path, he will find the runes, he will make the sacrifice, and he will carry the wisdom into the future. But for now, for this moment, he is simply a soul standing in the gentle light of destiny, breathing with the world, wrapped in peace. The night deepens. The stars shine brighter. The air grows cooler and calmer. And Odin begins the slow walk toward the place where the final step is waiting. Let your breath follow his pace. Slow, steady, soft. Take a slow, deep breath. Let the air drift softly into your lungs and allow the exhale to fall out of you in one long, peaceful cascade. Feel your body sink deeper into stillness, your thoughts becoming soft shapes instead of sharp lines, your whole mind opening to the quiet, dreamlike space where this story continues. The world of Norse mythology surrounds you once again, calm, dimly lit, wrapped in the embrace of an endless night. The atmosphere has changed subtly. There is a quiet gravity now, a soft pull towards something ancient, something sacred. But the calm remains, holding everything in a soothing, timeless balance. Odin moves through the clearing where he felt the gentle warmth of destiny. His steps are slow, deliberate, guided not by sight but by instinct, by the subtle hum of Yggdrasil, by the soft whisper of the runes hovering somewhere beyond the horizon of his awareness. The ground beneath him feels warm, as though the earth itself is breathing, exhaling slow waves of comfort through the soil. The air tastes faintly of moss and faint starlight. Even the wind moves differently, less like air, more like a gentle hand brushing across his face. He walks. Every few steps, he pauses, listening to the quiet sounds of the world around him. The rustle of leaves, the faint pulse of magic flowing through the roots, the distant call of night birds gliding silently through the canopy. Everything around him feels alive, yet hushed, as if the entire world is waiting for something in Asgard. The night deepens as well. Frigg stands beside her shimmering pool, watching the changing reflections on its surface. The visions shift slowly, Odin walking, the threads of fate tightening, the runes shimmering like distant stars. She places a hand over the water and closes her eyes, sending strength toward him without a word. Balder stirs in his sleep, turning on his side. His glow softens but never fades. His dream changes to a quiet meadow filled with gentle light, a place where sorrow cannot exist. His breathing slows. Hodr feels the warmth again, even without sight. He sits quietly, leaning back against the cool tree, sensing the ripple of change in the air. He cannot explain it, but something within him tells him the world is shifting in a way he will one day be part of. Though he cannot imagine how, Thor sleeps now, truly sleeps, the stars faintly mirrored in the metal of Mjolnir beside him. His breath is deep and steady. For once, his muscles rest without tension. He looks peaceful, almost childlike under the night sky. Freya lies in a field of soft flowers, the petals pulsing with gentle light. She watches the constellations move slowly above, forming, dissolving, reforming. Her eyelids grow heavy as she listens to the quiet hum of magic in the air. Freyr remains in the tall, glowing grass, one hand brushing lightly across the blades as if they are speaking to him. In a way, they are. The land itself communicates with him, telling him of change, of growth, of cycles turning. Njord stands by the sea. He leans on a smooth stone, listening to the waves rolling in long, slow breaths. The ocean feels calmer than ever before, like it too is drifting into a deep, ancient sleep. Heimdall closes his eyes for a moment, feeling the pulse of the Bifrost beneath his feet. He listens to the footsteps of Odin far away. He hears the shifting of destiny threads, the low hum of time itself. But he does not interfere. He simply watches, patient and still. Ask and Embla sleep curled together in their shelter. Their fire has almost faded, glowing faintly like a dying star. The night air cools, but the gods' quiet blessings keep them warm. Their dreams drift in soft shapes. Forests, light, gentle winds. Freya watches them with a serene expression, her fingers lightly touching the woven cloth they made. She knows it is uneven, imperfect, crude, but she also knows it is a beginning, and beginnings, in their own way, are sacred across the realms. A deep silence settles, and Odin continues that he walks through the clearing and into another forest where the trees grow taller and darker, their branches arching overhead in intricate patterns. The moonlight barely reaches the ground here, filtered into thin rays that shimmer faintly on the moss. He places a hand on a nearby trunk and feels something, an old memory that the tree itself holds, a memory of when the realms were young, when nothing existed but raw magic and unformed land. He exhales softly, acknowledging the ancient presence. Deeper into the forest he goes, the air cooling with each step. The roots become thicker, more twisted, forming natural stairways and hollow spaces between them. Small lights float in these hollows, tiny runic sparks, like fragments of forgotten wisdom waiting to be found. Odin walks slowly, reverently. Eventually, he reaches a ridge where the canopy opens slightly, revealing a stretch of sky filled with swirling constellations. The stars seem closer here, as if leaning down to watch him. He sits at the edge of the ridge, letting his legs dangle. Breathing deeply, he closes his eye. A subtle shift happens inside him, a deeper stillness, a deeper readiness. The runes begin to appear, not visually, but in sensation, like soft pulses in the air around him, like waves of meaning washing gently over him. He listens, letting their rhythm settle into his thoughts. A voice rises, not an external voice, but something from within, a calm, steady whisper of intuition. You know what must be done. Odin breathes out slowly, not with fear, with acceptance. He thinks of the realms, of the lives growing within them, of Ask and Embla learning to create, of Frigg's wisdom, of Baldur's light, of Thor's strength, of Freya's compassion, of Heimdall's vigilance, of Freyr's harmony, of Njord's calm, of the dwarfs forging deep beneath the earth, of the giants wandering the mountains, of the elves shining faintly in hidden groves, of Yggdrasil binding. Everything together. He thinks of all of it, and understands why. The runes call to him. Knowledge cannot be given freely, wisdom cannot be inherited without cost. If he is to become the keeper of the runes, the one who understands the hidden forces of the world, he must give something in return. He inhales deeply. The wind around him grows colder. The stars brighten slightly. The roots hum beneath him. But the world is not warning him that it is preparing him. He stands and begins walking again, descending the ridge, following a narrow path lit by faint, drifting lights. The path winds downward, deeper into the world, toward a place where knowledge waits quietly. He feels the air thicken, not with danger, but with gravity, an ancient pull toward the truth. He reaches a clearing where the roots curve upward, forming a massive natural archway. Beyond it lies a vast hollow space, glowing with muted gold light. He steps inside. The hollow expands endlessly. Its ceiling disappears into darkness. Its floor glows with quiet shapes. The runes float here, not fully formed, but more visible than ever before. Soft lines, drifting curves, glowing strokes, all swirling slowly like the night sky trapped within an underground chamber. Odin takes a breath. His chest rises, falls. He steps closer. The runes respond, glowing brighter in soft repetition. Not yet, they seem to say. Almost. He understands. The final step is near, but not here. He sits down inside the chamber, legs crossed, hands resting gently on his knees. He lets the hum of the runes vibrate through him. His breathing synchronizes with the glow. He closes his eye again, drifting into a meditative calm. Images rise in his mind. Threads, countless threads, all weaving through the realms, fate twisting, looping, strengthening possibility branching, destiny tightening that he sees himself hanging. But not yet. Not now that he sees the roots shaking with power, but gently, patiently that he sees the runes shining brightly, waiting that he exhales softly, settling deeper into the calm. For now, he rests in the presence of destiny, letting the world cradle him like a child in the arms of an ancient tree. You breathe with him, slowly, deeply, drifting deeper into the story's softness. Take a long, soft breath in, let it settle warmly in your chest, and then allow the exhale to flow out slowly, like a gentle wave smoothing the shoreline at night as your breath slows. Your mind sinks back into the calm, ancient world where Odin sits among drifting runic lights, wrapped in quiet destiny. The cavern around him glows with muted gold and soft blue hues. Nothing moves quickly here. Every shimmer feels like a long-held memory sliding across time. Every sound is a hush, the faint hum of the runes, the slow pulse of Yggdrasil above, the rhythm of the world breathing in harmony. Odin remains seated, his posture relaxed, his shoulders loose, his eye closed in deep meditation. He can feel the runes circling around him, not as physical shapes yet, but as pulses of meaning moving through the air. They drift like warm currents, swirling gently, brushing against his thoughts in soft waves as he inhales again. The air feels heavier now, sacred, ancient, full of quiet purpose as he opens his eye. The cavern shifts, not visually, but in energy that as if the entire space grows deeper, broader, more aware that he rises slowly. His movements create no echo. His steps barely disturb the dust on the glowing floor. He walks through the chamber, each step pulling him further into the heart of something vast and unspoken. The runes follow him in slow spirals. Their light intensifies gently, illuminating the curved stone walls, which seem to ripple like the inside of a dream. He stops near a root that descends from the ceiling like a massive pillar. Its surface glows faintly, and he places his hand upon it. The warmth of Yggdrasil pulses beneath his palm. Rhythmic, soothing, alive, he closes his eye again, and memories rise before him. Not visions of fate this time, memories of the world in its earliest breath, that he sees the endless void before creation. The deep stillness before fire met ice. He sees the first sparks that shaped the realms, the first drops of water that carved the rivers, the first winds that carried the scent of early forests. He sees himself and his brothers crossing the newly formed land, their laughter echoing across empty skies. The memory softens, warmer moments rise. Sunlight reflecting off calm lakes, stars drifting across young skies. The three brothers shaping land and sky with hands full of wonder. Odin feels gratitude. Not loud or intense, but soft and heavy, like a warm blanket settling around his shoulders. He sees more. The first time he felt the stir of curiosity within his chest, the desire to understand beyond the surface, to see the hidden patterns beneath. The world. The first time he felt the presence of the runes, faint and distant, like a whisper drifting from an unseen realm. These memories move slowly, like leaves floating on calm water. Odin opens his eye again, returning to the cavern. The runes swirl closer now, responding to his awakening clarity. They drift like glowing petals, spinning softly around him. He inhales. The air cools. The cavern stills. The runes pause. Something shifts. Gentle, subtle, profound. He feels a presence nearby. Not a god. Not a creature. Not even fate. A presence older than all of these. The quiet consciousness of the world itself. He does not hear words, but he understands. The time is near, but not quite yet. He turns away from the pillar-like root and walks deeper into the glowing hollow. The runes follow him, spreading into constellations that drift around the chamber. He pauses in the center. Where the glow is strongest, a soft breeze flows through the cavern. Impossible in a sealed space, yet here, perfectly natural. It brushes Odin's hair, cooling his skin, carrying the faint scent of the world above. Pine, frost, distant rivers, moonlit air that a calming wave passes over him. Meanwhile, across the realms, the night deepens further in Asgard. Frigg moves through the silent halls, her fingers trailing gently along carved pillars that glow faintly under moonlight. She murmurs a blessing again, her voice little more than a breath, sending warmth toward Odin's distant path. Baldur's glow intensifies slightly, even in sleep. His dreams shift into images of endless light, gentle winds, soft voices calling him home. His radiance calms everything around him. Hodur senses the glow. He cannot see it, but he feels its warmth brushing across his cheeks. He lifts a hand slightly, reaching instinctively toward the source. Though he knows not what it is, Thor lies in deep sleep, his chest rising and falling slowly. His hammer remains still. Sparks of faint lightning pulse along his fingertips, but softly, harmlessly, like dreamlight rather than stormfire. Freya continues humming in her meadow, her voice blending with the soft shimmer of magical flowers. Her melody drifts through the air, soothing the land, calming the night. Freyr sleeps with his hand on the earth, sensing the slow heartbeat of growing things. The land answers his dreams, blooming gently in his presence. Njord rests on the shore, his feet touching the cool water. The tide laps in long, slow rhythms. His breath matches the waves. Heimdall stands again on the Bifrost, watching, listening, feeling the tug of destiny tightening. But the tension does not disturb him. He remains calm, letting the quiet night wash through him. Ask and Embla sleep undisturbed. The fire outside their shelter flickers its last few embers. Freya watches over them, her presence soft and protective, like a warm blanket draped over their dream-filled night. The dwarves work quietly, forging deep beneath the mountains, but even their tools strike more softly tonight, as though respecting the stillness filling the realms. Everything is in a state of waiting, calm, patient, silent, and Odin keeps walking, drawn to the far end of the cavern where light gathers in soft spirals. When he reaches the center of the swirling glow, the runes, pulses one, a gentle thrum vibrating through the air. Odin steps into the light. The warmth envelopes him instantly. He inhales deeply, his chest loosens, his mind becomes weightless. The runes begin forming shapes around him, faint outlines at first, then slightly stronger. He cannot read them yet, but he feels the faint whisper of their meaning touch his mind, that a message passes through him. Almost, not yet, but soon that he nods. Accepting this, he stands in the glow, letting the runes drift around him like soft sparks. They swirl upward in slow spirals, gathering at the cavern's peak before dissolving into gentle waves of gold. Odin places a hand over his heart. He breathes slowly, and he knows what comes next. The hanging, the sacrifice, the price of the runes, but instead of dread, he feels a quiet peace settling through him, that a readiness deeper than courage, a readiness born from understanding. He sits down again, cross-legged, allowing the glow to fold around him. His body sinks into stillness, his thoughts slow to a gentle drift. His breaths become long and silent. He enters a meditative depth he has never reached before. The world around him fades into soft shapes. Light becomes warmth. Sound becomes vibration. Thought becomes breath. He drifts, he listens, he waits for the final moment, for the crossing, for the sacrifice that will open the way to the deepest wisdom in existence. The runes hover above him, their glow dimming and brightening like a slow heartbeat. You breathe with him, matching his rhythm, sinking deeper into calm, deeper into stillness, deeper into quiet anticipation. Take a deep, slow breath, let it fill your lungs gently, and allow the exhale to glide out like a long, warm wave washing across quiet sand. Your body softens, your mind loosens its grip on the waking world, and the final step of this ancient Norse journey opens before you like a calm, moonlit path. The cavern around Odin is still, silent, heavy with the soft glow of drifting runic sparks. He sits in meditation, wrapped in the embrace of the world tree's ancient power. The light pulses slowly around him, rising and falling like the inhale and exhale of the universe. His breath matches it. His heartbeat matches it. There is no fear left in him, only quiet understanding, only the gentle certainty of what must come next. He opens his eye. The cavern glows brighter, not sharply, not suddenly, but like dawn slowly blooming on the horizon. The runes drift closer, forming soft spirals around him. Their shapes are clearer now, curved strokes of warm light, breath-like lines floating through the air as if they are alive. Odin stands. The air vibrates with a low, soothing hum. The roots above him pulse gently, like veins carrying the lifeblood of the cosmos. The ground grows warmer beneath his feet as he breathes deeply and begins to walk. Each step brings him closer to the place where the worlds meet, closer to the tree's deepest knowing, closer to the sacrifice that will open the path. The runes have been showing him since the night he first felt their call. That he leaves the cavern and steps back into the forest where the night feels even deeper now, as if thickened by fate. But the darkness is comforting, soft, velvety, almost warm. The air carries a faint scent of pine, earth, and ancient magic. The stars overhead shift into a slow spiral pattern, subtly guiding him. The moon glows larger, as if widening its gaze. The breeze moves through the branches with long, slow breaths. The world is watching, but not with judgment, with understanding. Odin walks through the forest, past the river that glows like silver silk, past the glowing stones, past the roots arching overhead. He walks until he reaches a clearing where the sky opens above him in a wide, peaceful circle. The branches part. The moonlight pours down in a long column of pale gold. The grass around him glows with soft blue luminescence. This is the place. Not marked by symbols, not built by hands, simply chosen by time itself. Odin stands in the center of the clearing and looks up. Yggdrasil towers above him, vast, endless, ancient. Its branches spread across the sky like constellations woven into wood. Its roots sink deep beneath the realms, pulsing with quiet, eternal life. That he feels its presence like a heartbeat under his skin. The runes drift upward now, gathering at a high point where a thick branch extends over the clearing. Their glow reflects on the bark, shimmering like quiet stars. Odin approaches the branch that he knows, without being told, that this is where the sacrifice will take place. He stands beneath it, inhaling slowly, letting the stillness of the moment settle deeply into his bones. He thinks of the world, out of every life living, sleeping, dreaming within it, out of the humans in Midgard, fragile but full of potential, out of the gods in Asgard, bright and powerful yet bound to fate, out of the giants, the dwarves, the elves, each shaping their corners of the realm. He thinks of the runes, not as symbols of power, but as guides, teachers, whispers of the deeper truth behind existence. That he thinks of why he must do this, not for glory, not for dominion, but for wisdom, for the knowledge to guide the world, to protect it, to shape it with understanding rather than force. That he breathes out slowly. Then he climbs, not quickly, not with strain, but with soft, steady steps, gripping the ancient bark as though it is an old friend. The tree supports him, its surface warm, as if acknowledging the importance of this moment. He reaches the branch. The runes gather around him in a gentle spiral, circling him like drifting embers. Their glow warms his face. He sits astride the branch for a moment, breathing deeply, letting the final calm wash over him. Then he stands. He ties the rope, not with shaking hands, not with hesitation, but with quiet reverence. The reverence one shows to a sacred ritual. He looks out over the silent forest. Everything is still. Everything is waiting. That he places the noose around his neck. That he inhales. The world inhales with him. He steps forward. The branch holds him. There is no violence and no shock, only a slow surrender, like drifting into a deep dream, like falling asleep in the arms of the world. His vision fades softly, colors blur into gentle gold. The runes pulse and then spill into his mind, not as images, not as words, but as pure meaning, flowing into him like warm light. He understands, not one lesson, not one truth, but countless truths woven together, the structure of fate, the balance of the realms, the hidden patterns beneath existence, the laws that shape life and death, the secrets buried in the roots of the cosmos. The tree holds him gently. He hangs for 9 slow, peaceful nights. But in this telling, there is no suffering, no pain, no fear, only drifting, only understanding, only becoming on the final night. The runes settle into him completely. Their glow dims, their message roots itself in his spirit, and Odin returns, the rope loosens. His body falls softly into the grass below. He lies still, breathing again. His chest rising in slow, steady waves. The runes float above him in one final shimmer, then dissolve into the night sky like fading stars. Odin opens his eyes, glows faintly with quiet wisdom. He sits up, touching the ground with gentle reverence. Everything looks the same. Everything feels different. He has become the bearer of the runes, the keeper of the hidden knowledge, the wanderer of wisdom. He stands, the forest breathes around him. The moon glows warm above him. The roots shift subtly beneath him. He places a hand on Yggdrasil's bark, whispering thanks. Not with words, but with breath. He walks out of the clearing, slow and steady, guided now by the quiet light within him. Across the realms, the gods stir, the humans dream, the world turns. Odin carries the runes within him now, and with them, the gentle wisdom of understanding. Take one more slow breath. Let your mind rest in the softness of this moment and drift softly, calmly, peacefully into sleep.